What's going on, people? Welcome to Spoiler Alert for Game of Thrones Season 6. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Rachel Murdoch,
Hello, hello. Long time no something.
Brett Murdoch,
What's up, people?
Carlos Romero,
Couple of weeks late, but hold the door, hold the door, hold the door.
It's
and of
still too
course,
soon, man.
yeah, too
No,
soon, man, too
no.
soon. And of course, Mr. Colby Schumacher.
Confess. Confess.
Yeah, shame,
Shame.
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 So yeah, we have assembled the old Game of Thrones crew for this. By the way, completely like we didn't plan for this. Like we literally had a conversation earlier this afternoon. I was talking to Rachel and Brett, and Rachel was like, "Why don't we do a spoiler?" It's like, yeah, we probably should. Like we were so hyped up for this episode. So fuck it, here we go. So as such, we're not really too structured here. So this is gonna be a season 6 recap, and then we'll just fill in the blanks along the way. Okay, so this is the season where it actually went beyond the books now. Up to this point, the show has been keeping pace with the books, but obviously, since George Martin is a lazy asshole hanging out with these con chicks,
Going off the rails on the railroad train.
so we couldn't wait for this, man. So we're like, fuck it, we're gonna move ahead. And this season was interesting. Okay, it was really, really good. I loved it, but it was interesting because I the whole time I'm just sitting there like, is that real? Is that real? Is that canon? Is that canon? What's canon here?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
playing a game of that the entire time. But when I wasn't thinking about that, I was just too like engrossed by it. It's just fucking great TV, man. Great shit. So yeah, let's just get into it. Game of Thrones season 6. What did you all think?
I thought it was top three seasons, maybe. I still have to put it within seasons 3 or 4. It started really awesome. The middle was kind of slow because one of my favorite storylines in the book actually is Arya's, and I felt like they kind of didn't fulfill that storyline. But man, some epic
Yeah,
moments.
didn't Arya actually remain blind in the books?
No, she
Yeah.
actually
What, didn't she?
she was blind, but she got out of it. I just felt that Arya's story had a better arc in the books. Like she had more things to do, and she learned way more things. And in the show, she just learned how to fight stick blind, and then kind of got her ass kicked and got stabbed several times, and then somehow pulled it off. And that was pretty much it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of truncated. When I was talking to Rachel. She was like, "How did she survive all those stabbings in the stomach?" And Brett was like, "Cause she's badass."
And Lancel got stabbed once, and I think it was like around the kidney area, and
I
that
know,
dude couldn't
right?
move. In the meantime, Arya is just jumping over things like all
Stabbity, stabbity,
assassins.
stabbity, falling down stuff, and just she's. I think we came to the conclusion that she's just touched by the gods. She's chosen, since gods apparently in this realm have, well, certain gods have actual powers.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. You sure it's not because girls' organs are in different places than boys' organs? That's not what happened here.
Well, I was kind of thinking that it seemed like maybe they got him in the spinal cord because, he was down and his legs weren't moving either. So it's not even like he does, because if you get hit in the kidneys, yeah, you'll go down or whatever, but you can still move your legs. So,
Those little birds are pretty lethal, man. See, this is why you don't trust children.
yeah.
It's
I
like
know.
they're like Ramsey's dogs. The dogs needed to get fed, so did the children. They needed their chocolates or whatever the hell they're giving them.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go back to Arya because one of my most enjoyable things about the Arya, thing was the play they had.
Oh yeah.
Like that was really fun to me. It's like you get to see
Oh
what
yeah.
what the people of Essos think of what's happening in Westeros. It's like, whoa, you guys have it off. But the thing is, like, it's one of those things like the history is written by the victor, right? So Ned
Right.
Stark is this like fucked up dude or whatever, like Joffrey is exalted or whatever. I enjoy that like a lot. Like I could watch a whole show of just this.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Arya never saw those events take place. She left after that, and I like the whole interaction with the Cersei character and how she progressed as a character and as an actress during that whole play thing.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, that was
but
pretty awesome.
But as always, when you get attached to a character, they usually get the axe.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what else did you guys think of? Oh, Brett dropped off again. He'll be back. The Arya, thing, because because it seemed to me like she was going to the journey of becoming like the true faceless man or whatever. But then at the end, she was like, "Nope, I'm fucking Arya Stark."
So what did you guys see from what's his name, Jaqen H'ghar? Like what? Like he was ready to like have her killed, and then she killed the waif, and now he has this smile and nods and lets her go. So is she ever gonna get attacked by them again, or I didn't really get that part.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. It was kind of weird. It's like, okay, I sliced that bitch's face. I'm gonna kill you if you don't teach me that face thing, and then I'm gonna go back to Westeros. It wasn't explained very well,
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where you're like, man, I wish I had read the book so I know what the fuck's going on.
I know.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was still pretty cool. Where at the end of it, she was like, fuck it, I'm Arya Stark, going back to Westeros, and she went back and had her revenge. Ooh, that scene was great, and and that was a callback to one of the scenes in the book too, with the pie,
The Frey pies.
Yeah.
The Frey pie. So that was pretty cool. Colby, what'd you think of that?
Man, I was honestly this whole season, like you said, obviously was it was after the books, so I was really apprehensive kind of going into it, like, man, I don't even know if I want to watch this right now, if I want to wait till I read the book first, because, I read the books first before the other stuff, and I didn't even start watching the first season when the first episode came out, because I was like, well, I've already read the books, they're going to be better, but, I really obviously got into the show, too, so I guess for me, going into this season, the opposite way, I guess, of not reading the books. It was, I guess, a little more anxiety-filled watching these shows, because it's like, I didn't know what, the overall story was, so.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, this is supposed to be this, but this maybe, well, But I definitely called, I think, last season that about with Jon being a Targaryen.
Yeah, well, I mean, did you call that? Because people have been calling that for like decades now.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm really happy that they actually, finally really confirmed that that's what happened.
Yeah, should we just talk about that? Because that whole thing was pretty nuts to me. Like basically, the whole thing is like that he's not Ned Stark's son, right? He's the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, right? And to me, I remember when I first heard that theory years ago, like after I had watched the first season, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because why would Ned Stark, this super, like, he's pretty much like a paragon of like nobility, right? Why would he cheat on Catelyn? It didn't seem like something he would do, So when I heard that, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense actually. Like he's willing to, I guess, like look bad honorably among everybody else in order to protect his family. Because Jon Snow it's not his son, but it's still, family. It's his nephew, I guess.
Well, now that we're actually talking about this, did we talk about this before, like previously? Because I'm kind of having deja vu.
Yeah, we kind of did, but we were just speculating. Now, we could freely talk about it, because in past episodes, we would be like, okay, we can't talk about book spoilers. There's no book.
We just had to wait around longer to talk about book stuff,
Exactly, But yeah, I'm glad they finally revealed that. I mean, Brett isn't here right now. He keeps dropping off, but he was actually genuinely shocked.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Brett. So yeah,
I'm hiding in Rachel's skin while she tries to figure out my horrible PC problems.
You're warging into her account?
Yeah, I'm working into Rachel right now.
Yeah, you're the only one that was actually, like, you didn't know this was coming, so what was your reaction to, was it R plus L equals J?
I had totally stayed away from that. That doesn't mean I necessarily didn't see it coming. Like, I've always thought it was really weird how Catelyn, about how Catelyn Stark never recognized Jon, and how Ned, supposedly just kind of like went and cheated on Catelyn, even though he's really not that kind of guy. And even Robert didn't know anything about Jon's mother. So it kind of makes sense that something was being hidden there. I'll be honest though, I didn't think it had anything to do with who his mother was. I did not see Jon Snow being a Targaryen.
Well, they
Really?
haven't even. And the crazy thing, did they actually confirm it? Like, I know he's a
Yeah.
Targaryen because she said during the Tower of Joy scene that Robert will kill him. But there's I've heard speculation, and this is pretty far off. But I've heard speculation, people saying, "Oh, it could be the Mad King that impregnated."
No,
Lyanna."
it's Reynard. It's Reynard's, which is the Mad
Rhaegar,
King's son.
Rhaegar.
Rhaegar, excuse me. Rhaegar, who is the Mad King's son, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's not the Mad King. It was Rhaegar, which makes him Targaryen.
Yeah, but even if let's just go with that theory. Even if it was the Mad King, he'd still be a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying that they haven't really like it's implicitly said, but it's not.
Well, the Mad King was never actually in the same place with her, was he? Like,
Who knows? Like we still don't know what happened when she got abducted, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly, quote unquote. Because I don't think she was abducted at all. I think she went willingly with Rhaegar. You know.
Yeah, I think so too.
But it was kind of nice to see that little, just a little nitpicky thing, because Bran was able to see all these visions. Right now in the book, basically he was able to see whatever, wherever the trees were, he was able to see whatever the trees were seeing. There was no fucking tree anywhere near there, near the
Right.
Tower of Joy.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just gonna take the liberty and moving like a million miles away from this tree, just see anything I want.
Yeah, but at the same time, I did enjoy that scene because remember the whole thing with Ned was like, oh shit, he was able to beat Arthur Dayne, the most badass warrior, out there, and then you see what happened. He didn't beat him, Reed fucking stabbed him in the back.
Yeah.
So and then that finished him off. So that kind of, in some ways, it didn't really call his honor into question, but he didn't tell everybody like, oh no, I didn't beat the guy. He just let everybody believe it, So Ned, he's not exactly squeaky clean, but him cheating on his wife, no, he would never do that, But he'll say he did.
Well, but Ned didn't stab someone in the back. Ned was about to get killed, and someone stabbed someone else in the back.
Oh, no, but you know what I mean? He took the credit for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you kind of have to at that point.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't want to, go around and be like, "Hey, my buddy here just stabbed some dude in the back."
Yeah, and then I chopped his head off.
Right.
In a very dishonorable way,
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty crazy. I did enjoy all those things. I wish they could spend a little bit more time on them, just seeing the history stuff. And you even got to see how the fucking White Walkers were created.
Yeah.
That was pretty. I didn't see that coming. I'm like, oh shit, the children created them.
But so were the children? Did you guys? Was that what you guys envisioned when reading the book? Was basically them, or did you guys have a different picture in mind?
Oh, they're what I saw when I read the books.
You mean like what they physically look like?
Yeah, like the image of them. Like, do you think they accurately represented what what they should have?
No, to me, the children look like little elf people that were kind of tree-ish. That's what I imagined.
Well, that's what they were, though, right? Like in
the show, they just look like people that were painted green. Like, look cheap. It's just
I think Tony envisioned more like Ents, like from Lord of the Rings, but small.
Yeah, okay, take an ant.
That's what I had.
But give them a little bit of humanness. Like a little bit of flesh.
Tiny human tree-looking people, not like a goblin who has got some weird, really leaves in his hair.
Dude, they look like kids. They look like kids from Hook. Remember the movie Hook?
Yeah, for sure.
Really? Okay, I didn't actually read the books, but they're pretty much what I would depict a nymph to look like. And I imagine that the things that you're talking about are loosely based around the idea of a nymph or a nature spirit, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't look like that. They just look like rejects from Hook.
I don't think so. I thought they looked fairly nymphish.
I don't know. I didn't like them. They looked cheap to me, But,
fair enough. Did you guys see the? We've all played Skyrim. What are the tree things in Skyrim? Okay, Colby, you've played Skyrim. What are the tree things in Skyrim called?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
They're like dryads or something like that?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that sounds like it could be right.
They're super fucked up looking, and they're a lot more tree looking than the things in Game of Thrones. So I'm wondering if that's kind of what you guys were envisioning.
No, I just imagine like a traditional nymph, like little green people and stuff. You know, they didn't look like that in the show. They just looked like, you know, like I said, the Hook rejects. But regardless, it was pretty shocking to find out what their
Yes.
origin
No.
was. You know?
Actually, yes, Brett. That yeah, I just pulled up a picture of one. That is a little bit more of what I was thinking, but not so many branches like growing out of them, like out of their shoulders and stuff, but more like out of their head, kind of, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. You expected them to be more like anthropomorphized trees.
Yeah, because like in the book, they're described as having bark for skin.
Oh, really? Okay.
If I remember right, I guess I could be mistaken. It's been a minute since I really read them, but you know, if I remember distinctly them having bark for skin. So that's what I was envisioning.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Phantom Vash who's joining us in the chat, and he said they at least look better compared to season 4. That is true. They did look a little better. You know, but they still look cheap.
While we're on the subject of book stuff, like now that we're all caught up and there's no more, you know, anything that has been in the books that has not been in the series now can pretty much be chalked up to lost in translation or creative differences or something like that. It's not like they're saving it to release it for a later point. So now that all the, you know, all bets are off, what are the main differences that you have noticed? What do the book readers know at this point that the viewers still don't know? Because this is the point I've been waiting to get to. Like now, is there anything, not having read the book, that I should know? Like, do they have more information on like the Maesters? Like Tony and I were talking about the Maesters earlier today. Like I have this idea that the Maesters used to be an order of all-powerful mages, and as magic slowly died out of the world, that they no longer remember magic, but that they used to get a chain for being able to master certain elements of magic.
Wasn't the Archmaester at the Citadel like an alchemist or something like that?
Yeah. Like there was, he's the only one that kind of has knowledge of magic, you know. But the thing is, Brett, they haven't explained it, but your theory would go along with it nicely, you know. It's like
there was one point in the series when they say Maesters, the Maesters who used to wield wear these chains used to wield great power, and like I don't think that's a figure of speech. I think they're talking they literally wielded great power, not like they were politically important, but they wielded powers. The same way, you know, you see warlocks, you see like witches. Like why would you not see an order of mages? And if they were, you know, prominent the way that, and I'm pulling out parallels from, you know, different fantasies worlds, but let's be honest, they all have similarities. Like there's kind of usually a tower of mages or something like that, and as magic dies out of the world and fewer people are actually born with magic, they become great scholars. And then as more time passes, people forget that magic ever actually existed. I'm solidly convinced that's what's up with the Maesters, but I haven't had a chance to hold on.
Yeah, but you know, this goes back to what we were talking about before. It's like magic is growing in the world ever since the dragons were born. More magic is happening. Like you know, in the chat, Shinatsky, he said, you know, alchemists are actually able to make more wildfire. Wildfire is not an easy thing to make. They're actually able to make it easier. And one of the scenes in the books I remember, it was in Essos. They were walking down the market, right? And these guys were like, you know, kind of throwing fire and stuff, like juggling fire in the air. And one of them remarked like, hey, these guys were just a bunch of charlatans before. They weren't able to do that. Something's going on in the world, you know?
Yeah, well, you remember the warlocks that captured Daenerys? Like, they didn't actually have any magic until like the dragons started coming back. And I'm not entirely convinced it's the dragons that brought the magic back with them. I'm kind of convinced it's Winter. Like, when magic is kind of removed from the world, the Night King would probably have problems manifesting.
Well, the winters happened in the recent past. I think Ned has been through a winter during his lifetime. So it's like
it's something else. And even the books haven't exactly explained what that is.
Yeah, but they've also said that this is going to be the longest winter in hundreds of years. Yeah, like as long as memory.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. Maybe the ferocity of the winter itself is causing the magic to come back. You could be right.
No. I'm actually thinking the lack of magic would cause, like, I'm thinking winter is kind of magical in nature. Like, it might be a force like the Night King, and now as magic is coming back, the Night King grows in power, and he's able to manifest more power in the vehicle of snowstorms, of winter. Winter coming is actually, you know, the ice, or the Night King expressing his strength. and then this one's going to be the biggest one because Magic is back for fucking real this time, and he's able to actually come down and lead an army. Like, that's what I'm wondering. I think the whole, and I know that this is a weird place to put like just theories, but I'm pretty sure the whole story of Game of Thrones is the story of like the reawakening of magic in a world.
Yeah, which would be, I mean, that could be a subtext. I was just thinking about this because, pretty much what they keep saying in the book is, hey, dragons came back, that's why magic is returning. What if it's the other way around? What if magic's returning? That's why dragons were able to be born again. It could be that too. We don't really know yet, but Brett,
that would make more sense.
Yeah, but to answer your question, no, there isn't really. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carlos or Kobe, but there isn't anything that book guys know plot-wise that people who watch a show don't. There's just more details.
Not even like plot-wise, but like, what do you guys know? Like, I'm interested in the backstory of like the First Men and who are these fairy folk and who are the old gods? Like Rachel and I were talking earlier about who these gods are. Like, are they actual gods? Are they interpretations? And then Tony,
it's all up to interpretation. We don't really, even in the books, they don't explain that.
The books don't give you any more information?
No. Everything you've heard, it's what's out there,
Essentially, the old gods were the gods of the children of the forest, and the First Men adapted those gods. And then the Andals, which came over from the east, I think.
Yeah, from Essos, yeah.
From Essos, they came in and took over most of Westeros and
with their gods.
Gods, right? So those are the new gods.
Those are the 7.
The 7, right?
So were there humans in Westeros before the Andals came?
Yeah,
the First Men.
The First Men, yeah.
Okay.
Which is like
literally
northern
the First Men. The First Men.
Okay,
right.
so and that's the stock that both the Wildlings and the Starks came from, right?
Yes.
Yes. It should be noted that the First Men also came from Essos as well.
Did they?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
They did come from Essos originally as well. There were no men on Westeros. It was just the children. That was their continent. And then men came over. And basically the First Men were like Bronze Age technology, right? And then the Andals were, Steel Age technology? Iron Age. Iron Age.
The dragons were there with the children too, because they talk about how the dragons, that was their land before, and that's why Dragonstone's named the way it is, because it was like a dragon's nest originally.
Okay, I didn't know that, but that makes sense because I thought dragons were native to Valyria, but you're right. Why would they have something called Dragonstone in Westeros, right? Makes sense.
Question: I've heard theories that people say that Winterfell is habitable because of some kind of slumbering, possibly a dragon being underneath it or dragon's eggs. Is there talk in the books about Winterfell being warmer or unnaturally heated or unnaturally livable even in the dead of winter? Because I've heard this referenced multiple times that there's some reason why Winterfell is people are thinking that maybe there's a dragon or something underneath.
No, I don't know about that, but you're right about that. There is something underneath Winterfell that keeps it warmer, but I don't know if they exactly said what it is yet. I don't know. They don't have hot springs or anything like that, do they?
That's what I was thinking. Were there hot springs in Winterfell?
I think that there might. I don't want to.
I don't think so. They've never. If they had them, they would have had baths in them and made like a big deal about them.
What I mean, but there is something about Winterfell that keeps it not as cold as everything else.
Well, I mean, like even in the first book, like they talk about how cold it is there and how people are. It's not even winter yet and it's still freezing already.
It's the north,
Yeah, but I mean, like it's not even winter and they're already complaining about it being cold. So I mean, like, it doesn't seem like it's unseasonably warm anywhere around there. And then, like, even when you see it, a lot of times it's covered in snow. So, I mean, it can't be that warm. Snow can stick to the ground, so.
Yeah, that's true.
They're probably standing next to a fire or something.
But anyway, going back to season 6, though, we'll see what I found cool about this season was, like, we're finally getting payoff for some of this shit we've been waiting seasons for. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that you guys were like, oh my God, yes, this is finally going down. So, Carlos, let's start with you, man. What were some of the things where you're like, finally, shit?
The retaking of Winterfell is one of the main ones. So, from a book reader, after finishing Dance with Dragons, we know that Stannis is right at the footsteps of Winterfell, about to fight it. about to try to take it over, and then we find out in the show that Stannis actually lost. So the book readers had no idea that there was going to be a battle of the bastards per se.
Yeah.
And man, that episode 9, man, it was beautiful. Like, it's like Saving Private Ryan meets Braveheart meets a shitload of other things meets freaking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
But,
the cinematography in episode 9 was amazing.
It was
that whole
amazing.
Fight,
Yeah.
that whole fight scene was just. I watched episodes 9 and 10 twice, each ones, and I was just like amazed at each turn, because it was just so well choreographed, so well told, and they just crammed so much into episode 10 that I wasn't expecting. Like, we spent, I want to say, the last 20 minutes of the episode just with our mouths open, just collecting flies.
Did you see the behind the scenes of episode 9?
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you bring that up because, and I'm going to talk about that in something I actually read tonight. So basically, the whole thing, they were like, hey, we've never done a medieval battle in this show before, like a real medieval battle. And then the thing I was reading today is like, not only did the show never do that, most media has never done that. Like, basically the era of like big war movies, costume war movies were already done by the 70s, right? People like Gladiator had a little bit of that, but they were like, you know what? Let's really make it gritty and as realistic as possible as an actual medieval war where, like, you saw it in the episode too, Jon Snow was getting lucky. Like, they talked about that in the behind the scenes. Like, a lot of this shit came down to luck. It's like a guy's about to chop his head off, a fucking horse knocks the guy out of the way, and just the whole confusion of it, that was really good. And they even said they pulled from a lot of different wars to make that real. Like, they not only medieval war, but like the Civil War, the Spartans and all that other shit. Like,
oh yeah,
it, man.
The Civil War. I think I heard that they got my drumstick just fell down.
Oh no.
The pile of bodies, the whole big pile of bodies,
Yeah.
they got that from the Civil War.
Yeah, they got that from Civil War, exactly. Yo, that was crazy because Ramsay, think about it like this. When he was having his men shoot the arrows up, he was killing his own men too.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to make people turn on him, honestly.
Yeah, but this is Ramsay, so...
Let me bring something up. The whole... I understood this in the show, but it pissed me off as a book reader. The whole Karstark Umber, them betraying the Stark allegiance kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So
that?
I don't know. I just always thought that the North. So there's this whole thing about the North Remembers storyline, and after the Red Wedding, I thought everyone was going to be bitter against the Boltons because they pretty much fucked the North over. And then we have the freaking Karstarks and the Umbers just siding with them and betraying the Starks, and I don't know. I always thought that those houses were always going to remain loyal.
No, not Karstark after fucking Robb chopped off. Like that.
Yeah.
Like, you knew the Karstarks were not on board. The Umbers is like, what are you guys doing, man? What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, because like Greyjoy Umber died in the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's because of the Boltons.
Basically, but yeah, that whole battle scene was great. Because you knew for a fact if it wasn't for the soldiers from the Eyrie, they were gonna get killed. That was a wrap. Because they had them trapped behind the wall of bodies. Closing in. It was fucking nuts.
They're suffocating them.
Yeah, just to sidetrack a little bit, I'm going to talk about that scene because it ended. You saw Sansa and Littlefinger and stuff coming in, right? I think that scene is going to be in the book, but it's going to play out like this because Sansa is nowhere near Winterfell in the book.
Right.
She's in the Eyrie, so I think that's going to happen. It's just going to be different circumstances. So it's going to be like Jon's going to be like, "Oh shit, Sansa's alive," Like that's going to be the first time they actually meet, But all that's going to go down. It's just going to be different,
So what did you guys think about Sansa not mentioning Littlefinger and the Knights of the Vale to Jon?
I don't understand that. Why is she doing that? Like, does she not trust him?
Yeah, it's like, what strategic point is she trying to do, like, by doing this? Like, she doesn't gain anything. Like, at least mentioning, because I had a theory that Littlefinger was always going to arrive later than he should have, just so he would, like, not suffer as much casualties.
Yeah.
But man, so many people freaking died, and they got there in the last second because both armies were decimated.
Yeah, definitely. But you remember they said that it's like, we're gonna have our men hold the fort. It's like, what men? They killed them all.
Yeah.
They had nobody. But yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about that. It's like, why didn't she tell him? Even now, it's like, yeah, I don't really understand. Like,
Isn't that
go ahead,
is
Brett.
is that bad battle tactics though? Like, strictly speaking, from what's going to work versus what's not going to work, and I'm pretty sure Rachel will agree with me, being the RTS fan that she is. Basically, letting somebody show their battle plan, think they've won, get in a vulnerable position before clamping down on them is not a bad decision. It helps to win a battle. It just, man, you take a lot of casualties doing it. But Ramsay Bolton took a lot of casualties by firing on his own men. Like, you could make the argument that the war just sucks and a lot of people are going to die. What's the smartest way to do it? And keeping your actual army behind a hill while somebody pinches down on a decoy army and then rolling over their infantry with your cavalry, not a bad battle strategy, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But at the same time, Jon Snow didn't know that cavalry was coming.
No, but Sansa did.
Yeah, Sansa did. So, okay, I see what you're saying. But at the same time, okay, it goes back to Carlos' question. Why did she keep that from Jon?
Yeah, because I don't think she knew if she could trust him completely. Like,
Okay,
she apologized.
Why would she not trust him?
I don't know. That was the thing I don't get.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I want to know. It's like,
Because he's not really a Stark.
but she flat out said, "I see you as a Stark."
Now she does. Before, she kind of fucking hated him. Remember,
Right.
like, we can't forget what a horrible cunt face Sansa
Yeah,
used to be.
that's
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
She always
Well
gave
said.
Jon a hard time and never recognized him as a brother. And despite that, like, she and fucking he left the family to basically go to the Wall of North. Like, I can see from her point of view a little bit where she might be like, I don't know, after being the cunt that I was to him, if he's really going to want to see me or if he's going to back me or what's going to happen. So I would say that's more just kind of shittiness on her part than anything on Jon's character.
So
Okay, that's fair enough.
So-
But because my thing is, I thought they had put any of that bullshit aside when they met again. It's like, listen, we can't be, whatever happened in the past, that's in the past now. We got to unite against our foes. I thought
Yeah,
all
and
the shit was behind
Sansa
them.
didn't, which
Yeah.
shows like it tells of Sansa's character that even we're like, all right, we're gonna tell you everything, each other the whole truth. We're not gonna hold anything back except for I'm gonna hold a little something back because I never tell anybody anything or everything. Like that just speaks shitty of Sansa's character. And I think despite all that Sansa has grown, I think she's still kind of a shitty character. The fact that she's making these backroom deals with Littlefinger is like she's playing with fire. This is a Faustian deal, and she is expressing time and time again that sometimes she does good things and sometimes she does shitty things. Like she puts on an innocent face, man, but she would do some horrible things if pushed the wrong way.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that Littlefinger influence really rubbed off on her in that sense. I see what you're saying. So maybe that's what it was. She just didn't trust him. But I mean, she saved his bacon at the end of the day. But still, it cost a lot of fucking men.
She saved his bacon, or she saved her own bacon?
That's a good question. I like
it's
that.
debatable.
Yeah, that is true. Because think about it. If they had lost that battle, she was not getting Winterfell back.
Well,
That's
but
it.
look at it this way. If they had been able to win the battle without Littlefinger, Sansa would have gotten what she wanted without having to pay a price. Instead, she let a whole bunch of people die before she finally went, we're going to lose this. I guess I'll pay the piper, and let Littlefinger in, and now owes him something. Like, so she was willing to let all these people die before she was willing to go into debt with Littlefinger. And don't get me wrong, being indebted to Littlefinger is a terrifying fucking prospect, but this is still showing of Sansa caring about Sansa first. After all of these fucking people. She's supposed to be a Stark. She's supposed to be worried about the people following her, and she let a whole bunch of people following Jon die in an attempt to try and wriggle out of having to pay a debt to Littlefinger. That's how I see it, at least.
So you think she actually hasn't changed at all as a character? She's still selfish.
I think she's more conniving. I don't think that she's a good person, though. Like, I think she's not a bad person compared to some of the fucking people. But yeah, like think about it this way: you're sitting there on a battle in which you've already said, if we lose, I'm going to fucking kill myself, right?
Yeah.
So you let your brother take his whole army in. This whole time, you have another army. They're just hiding over that fucking hill right there. You don't tell your brother. You let your brother go in, charge his entire army in. You let your little brother die because you're convinced he's just going to be collateral damage anyway. You watch your older brother fucking run in, have like a huge amount of his forces massacred in front of you, almost get killed himself before you're finally like, I guess I'll use my army. Like, it's kind of a dick move. Like, I realize it's, you rode in at the last second on the white horse, but leading up to that point, like, motherfucker, did you have this horse army behind that hill that whole time?
Yeah.
See,
Why
that's
were
the
you
thing,
gonna
I
fucking
don't
tell me
think she
about this
did.
shit?
I don't think that the army was actually there the whole time. I think like they were on their way and just so happened to get there at the perfect time.
You think that's what happened? Because I think that's what happened too. They just got there at the nick of time. But it doesn't excuse the fact that she didn't fucking tell them.
Yeah, like, hey, just so you know, these dudes are coming. Maybe if we wait like a few more hours, well, they might be here. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have been said. And had they, been able to postpone the fight a little bit longer, maybe Rickon would have not been shot through the heart.
Can we talk about Rickon real quick? Because that was fucking bullshit to me. You could have easily dodged those fucking arrows, man.
So motherfucker did not serpentine at all.
It's
Not even a
a matter
little
of
bit.
serpentine. Okay, you're running, and as soon as he lets loose an arrow, you stop, see where it's going, and you step to the side. It's as simple as that,
I think, though, like, that was the... Okay, so Ramsay Bolton, like, missed 3 or 4 times, and we all take that as... Well, we all take that as him toying with Rickon.
Yeah.
But what if it was instilling a false sense of security in Rickon? Like, oh no, I'm never going to be able to hit you. You better just run in a straight line.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. He was toying with him at the same time. Rickon could have been like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but Rickon was lured into a false sense of security because he was dumb enough to think he couldn't be hit by the bow. He's like, I keep running in a straight line and these arrows keep missing me. I'll just keep doing this.
Well, yeah, but like, it's not like he's gonna wait for the first time to miss to find that out, though.
This is true, which explains. But no, keep in mind this is still the walnut smashing retard from the first couple of seasons.
So I think my theory on this is if Rickon would have zigzagged his way through, he would have just gotten all his archers to shoot at him. He was like,
I see what you're saying. He would have died regardless.
He
right?
was
Like,
gonna
Ramsay,
die regardless. Exactly. Yeah. Even Sansa said, "Man, he's like," which was crazy. It's his little brother. He's like, "Yeah, he's dead."
Yo, you know what's
Forget
fucked up
about
about that? Like, because Rickon's dead. As soon as the battle starts, when they let loose arrows, my man takes like 5 more.
Rickon was dead the second Rickon's wolf was killed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Summer,
See,
right? That was the name of the wolf? Was it Summer?
Yeah.
No, it was Shaggy Dog.
Oh, Shaggy? Okay,
Oh,
Shaggy
that's
Dog.
right.
Man.
Yeah. But see, I was kind of hoping it was going to be something like, the Carl Starks, was a different wolf head, and this was all like a plan to lure him in, and and then when everything was about to go down, then they were going to slice his head off or something, and be like, we're actually here for the Starks, and then Jon Stargaryen would come through and be all like, hey, what's up,
Jon
guys?
Stargaryen. Oh, that's so great.
Oh, man. Yeah, the White Wolf. By the way, since we're talking about battles, you guys want to talk about the Marine battle? Because that was pretty fucking crazy, too, man. Like, how do you have, like, 2 back-to-back crazy-ass battles like that, man? Nuts, Actually, before we do that, we should talk about Tyrion taking over Marine. Because Tyrion has good experience when it comes to leadership, and he showed that again. But what do you guys think about the deal he made to the slavers? It's like, okay, you guys can keep slavery for another 7 years, then we're going to take it away from you. I thought that was a little weird. It's like, how are you going to enforce that, bro? I never understood that,
It wasn't a bad idea. He's ever the diplomat. If you're trying to keep a society from imploding, you generally have kind of a metered release of new rules so people have time to adjust. Like, that's honestly just a good idea. Despite like slavery is a super fucked up thing, like Daenerys is approaching it on a moral point of view, and Tyrion is approaching it on a practical point of view. Is at least how I take that.
Oh no, I agree with you, but the thing is, my thing is like, how are you going to enforce that? That's what I.
The same way you enforce no slavery now. It's just you kind of have it like, you have 7 years. You don't even necessarily have it metered off necessarily. You have 7 years to get your shit together. In 7 years, I'm coming by, and for each slave I find, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, but I mean, with what in like 7 years they could build their own army too. You know what I mean? Like they
And
just
more
have
slaves.
yeah, more exactly. Like they're still gonna have slaves for
Well,
7 years.
I
They
think
could build
you'd
up a
probably
whole
have people
army.
check in and be like, "Hey, so I know we said 7 years no slaves. It's weird because you have twice as many slaves this year as you did last year, and like half of them have shields and swords. You want to tell us what's up with that?"
They'll probably do a series of verifications like the Iran deal.
Yeah. Oh, man. So that was my whole thing. Like a Tyrion's plan, I'm like, yep, that actually makes perfect sense to me. Very practical plan. Like you got to take the moral stuff out of it. You got to just think about it as a plan. It's like, hey guys, we're gonna take slavery away, but we know you can't just do it, overnight. So we're gonna give you time.
He's changing things up incrementally.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes sense. You don't just force change on people. This is why the Xbox One didn't work.
Yeah.
In a bag.
I thought it was always weird. I've been semi AFK here dealing with puppy shit, literally. So did we talk about the teleportation in the past few episodes yet? Because
we can talk about that now if you want. Like, it's not teleportation. I want to know how long did okay, let's just take the last episode, right? How long did that span? How many weeks? Because Varys was like zipping everywhere, man.
I know Varys was zipping everywhere. Daenerys was, off doing her thing, looking
But hers
for.
is different. She's flying.
Well, yeah, but she didn't have the dragon forever. The dragon just sort of like showed up.
Yeah.
That's true.
And, before that she was with the Dothraki widows and all the shit. Where was the dragon then? And all of a sudden the dragon shows up. And then all of a sudden Daenerys shows up in the middle of this marine attack. And I'm just like, really? Can we not have paced this a little bit better, guys?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Where Dany was less than a day's flight because she got picked up by the Black Dragon. She flew for less than a day and then woke up in the morning and was kidnapped by the Dothraki. And then the Dothraki gave her what was it like a 1 or 2 day ride to get back to the temple. So at most it would have been like a day or two's flight on dragon to get back. Like geographically, I don't think she actually went very far.
Yeah, but again,
and then the Iron Islands, fucking Reek and his lesbian sister.
Yeah, I have no idea how they got there so fast.
Fucking show up, like, hey.
Yeah, I've seen that shit on the map. Those places are very fucking far away.
Even
if to over Westeros.
Yeah, even if you go around the other way, it's like, no, that's still a long ass trip.
Dude, that's like going from like the west coast of the United States to the east coast of Africa.
Yeah, that's exactly
pretty
what
much.
it is, dude. Like the way I see it, it's like imagine that they're in Hawaii, right? They're going from Hawaii to fucking Saudi Arabia, essentially. You got to go under, because remember the way Essos is shaped, there's that big protruding thing too. You got to go around.
Yeah, it's like halfway across the known world.
Yeah, so they need to,
And then Olenna, who just had, most of her family just blown up by wildfire, wearing black, is suddenly with the sand snakes. Like, really?
No, she left episodes ago. Remember?
To be fair, if you look at the map, King's Landing and Dorne are just a straight shot through the sea.
Okay.
Olenna went to the Reach before she left for Dorne, because it's not like, because remember Marjorie pretty much kicked her out and said to go back to Highgarden.
Go back to Highgarden, yeah.
So she probably found out there that they got blown up and shit.
It seems like there was at least a couple of weeks that skipped, because fucking Arya just showed back up in River Run. Like, I was like, holy shit, she's like right there. Like, River Run is not that far from Winterfell.
Yeah, I mean,
you mean the twins?
Right, the twins,
yeah.
Yeah, she's right there. But again, they should have done a better job of actually letting you feel how much time has passed. Because let's think about Varys, right? He was in Marine, then he went to Dorne, and then he went back to Marine.
In a span of like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, they could have showed us like a shot of even Dany and like them rebuilding after the attacks or something like that. But I guess they kind of did, in the sense that, man, they repainted and built all those ships and got them out on the fucking sea in like record time.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Gendry is still rowing.
Yeah.
Oh God, poor Gendry.
Oh man. But yeah, they definitely did. It's like, cool. Well, these guys are just getting around the world too fast, Like, I understand. You know, it's TV, but at the same time, come on, man. You know,
It's like the opposite, the George R. R. Martin effect, because what George R. R. Martin does in the books, he tries to make it as realistic as possible. Like, if Tyrion is headed to this place, he has to take this amount of time realistically to get there, and he kind of tries to do it. It's all relative. But in the show, it's like Varys goes to 2 continents within 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's like, no, you guys don't even have airplanes. No, come on now.
They got dragons.
But come on now.
Speaking of dragons, right? Like, okay, the sea that Daenerys is crossing, how big is it? How long does it take to cross that sea? And can dragons fly for that long straight?
Here's the thing. I think they're gonna have to stop somewhere. Here's the interesting thing. They actually have to pass by whatchamacallit? I'm forgetting the name of the fucking
Volantis.
They actually have to pass by Volantis. Valyria.
Oh,
actually,
Valyria. Yeah, they have to go right by there.
They got to go right by Valyria because the way they need to get to Essos is they got to go travel south, right, past Valyria, then head west, right, and then go north. You know. Did they ever say where they're going exactly? Like, are they going to King's Landing? Like, are they just going to straight up invade that, or are they going to go somewhere else? Maybe they're going to go.
I think she's heading straight up for fucking King's Landing, right up the butthole.
Maybe she's going to Dragonstone.
Oh, she's not going to go to Griffin's Keep.
Oh, that's a good. I get you, Tony.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, are they going to go through the same place that Sir Friendzone went through and got the stone skin and all that shit? Like, that won't be cool.
They could go a little bit further south, but they have to pass by there.
Oh, that'll be such a good episode. Like, imagine they're passing through Valyria, and then their boats get invaded by stonemen.
Oh, shit. Imagine
and the dragons come by and just toast everybody, and then they just have a party.
Oh, no. They give the dragons grayscale. Oh, no.
Dude, I wonder what's up with the stonemen. Like, there's just a whole lot of weird, random magic that is going on in this world. There's
a lot of stuff that popped up and just came unresolved, like the Stone Man thing. And with the very first episode of this season, and we saw the red bitch, like her true form, which is like, I don't know, like 800 years old or something like that. Never talked about again, except she acted as if she had mono for the rest of the season.
Well, she's wearing that weird necklace that when she put on that necklace, like, it made her young, and notice the priestess who went to visit Daenerys had that same necklace and also looked young and attractive.
By the way, shout out to Blackstar who's in the comment now. I was talking to him on Twitter a couple weeks ago. It's like, yo, if you see a red bitch, have him take off the necklace first. Take off that shit, bitch. I want to see what you really look like, you know. But you're right about that. They had that scene with Melisandre, you know, showing that she's like super old. Never referenced again. What was the point of it? You know, completely other than like kind of killing my boner a little bit. You know,
a little bit.
I would say, you know, trying to show a little bit of the, you know, like the Lord of Light is actually real, or, you know, trying to, you know,
Lord of Light is real, and the many-faced God is real. Are these the old gods? They can't be the old gods since they're not from Westeros, right?
No, I think they're the part of the Seven, aren't they?
That's what Brad and I were talking about this. I'm going to bring it up to you guys now because there's a theory going around that says all the gods are the same. They're, you know, what I'm saying, they're just different interpretations of the same gods. Like the old gods are actually the seven. The what's called the stranger is actually, you know, the many-faced god. You know, things like that. What do you guys think about that? You think all these gods are just one and the same? Because Brad has an interesting theory that the new gods are not real, but the old gods are real because we've seen their actual power manifested. We haven't seen the power of the seven at all. You know?
The new gods are essentially manifestations of facets of humanity. The new gods worship mankind and humanity in a kind of distilled sense. You know, the stranger, the mother. They're all these different facets of knowing the world. Whereas the old gods, I feel, are actually based on supernatural entities that precede the time of man. So, like, new gods are just fucking ceremony and fog and mirrors, and the old gods are, like, the true real thing. For anybody who's ever played Morrowind, it's like the difference between, like, the old gods and the Tribunal.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the
Lord of Light's definitely one of the old gods.
Yeah, but you're right. It seems like the old gods are actually real. They have power. You know, the red god, too. even the many-faced god. But the new gods, like the mother, the father, I don't think they have any real. I don't even think they're real. But at the same time, maybe they are the old gods just reinterpreted. I don't know. Again, they haven't.
The new gods have never shown any kind of actual power. They've never shown that they can do anything or that they care about anything. Like the old gods, the weird stuff happens around the old gods.
Hey, Brett, they do this one thing. They pass judgment, man. It takes a lot. No, but they haven't done it. Like, I understand that. I know that the many-faced god at the House of Black and White, they kind of like they do all the gods,
Yeah, they have all of them. It's like
the House of Black and White has more than the many-faced god in it.
It has all the gods. If you saw, they have a weirwood tree. They have the 7 in there. They have all of them.
Lord of Light.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just more of how all of these religions are just pretty much part of this, coming from the same place, whatever it is, whether it being whatever miracles they perform or their concepts, they all come from the same place.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. But you could also interpret it as like all these religions, they all answer to the many-faced god, the god of death. It could also be seen that way too.
It could be the same difference though, that like you were saying, like the difference between Greek and Roman mythology. There's different names for the same gods that
exactly.
do the same thing. Like you have a god of death, you have a god of life, you have a god of light, you have a god of dark.
Okay, so I'm looking at a thing that says the major religions in Essos, and it has like the Lord of Light and then some other people, that aren't really mentioned in the show. And then it says other cults in Essos, and Many-Faced God is one of those of the other cults in Essos.
Okay. I could see that.
But it also says like Valerian religion, the Weeping Lady. I mean, like there's some actually cool sounding gods in here, and like I think I'm gonna start reading up on old gods.
Yes. Hey,
yeah, I think we're all just gonna dive into some lore and be like, oh, okay, oh yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, especially since we have a whole year,
Speaking of lore, can anybody answer me this question? Is true or false, a follower of the many-faced god can take the form of anybody's face that they've taken?
Well, any face that has been taken for the god.
Okay, but not necessarily. They can't just be like, I'm Tyrion Lannister today. Like, it has to be a face that has been taken. So does that mean that Arya can impersonate Walter Frey now?
Well, I think that see, from what I understand from the books and a little bit from the show is the many-faced god has to be given a name, and that name needs to be brought to, the many-faced god, where then they go get the, like Walter Frey, for instance, they bring his body, they do that ritual, they cut his face off. So I think she would have to bring him back to the actual temple to be able to start using his face.
Ah, okay.
But I could, obviously, I'm shooting in the dark here, but that would be, from what I've seen from the, that's what
because I thought that they took the faces from the Temple of Black and White. Like that's how Arya got discovered the first time, was she had taken one of the faces. So I had thought that she could just take Walter Frey's face, and now like, oh shit, Arya can be Walter Frey.
Like that's a little tiny Walter Frey. No, but see, like I think that was the whole point of showing you so many different times of like rituals that they do with like the special water and doing the whole face off mask thing. And so I think like she it has to go through that certain process of becoming whatever it is that they use to put over their face.
They have to offer the face to the many-faced god.
Right. But I mean, like I said, total guess. But that's what I gather from reading the books and watching the movie or shows.
Yeah, well, they are kind of like movies now, right? So freaking cinematic, It's
freaking awesome.
I want to jump ahead to Cersei, man. Holy shit.
Darth Cersei.
Yeah, that's immediately what we went to. It's like, well, Darth Cersei, here we come.
Yeah, she had that badass dress too. This bitch knew it was coming.
That was awesome. I was kind of expecting a little bit more embellishment in the front, but I did like the pauldrons.
Yeah, those were cool.
Heavy metal pauldrons.
Yeah.
By the way, I think like half the women on my fucking Twitter feed were like, I want what she's wearing. Like,
I would be okay if that became a new thing.
Yeah,
sure. She was like fucking Hellraiser Cersei, man. It was nuts, But yeah,
Terrifying.
But basically, because it seemed like she was on the losing end, where it's like, oh yeah, we're not gonna have a battle. What is it, like a battle of the death or something? Colby, what's the name of it again?
Trial by combat.
We're not gonna have that. So it seemed like, oh fuck. Cersei
Oh yeah.
screwed, And
Yeah.
then,
Tommen fucked Cersei with that one.
yeah, dude.
Tommen fucked everybody with that one, apparently.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I want to use this to bring up something, and I'll just segue into the bit about how it ties into the show. Like, let's talk about Tommen for a second.
Oh, Tommen.
Precious, sweet summer child Tommen.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
God damn it! I just lost my train of thought. Worst possible timing.
Tommen.
What are we talking about?
Before
that.
Cersei, the manipulations, the trial by combat.
Oh, that's right. Tommen. It is my personal opinion that Tommen has been getting fucking fed up with Cersei's shit through this entire season. Like, you see him slowly realizing that, like, okay, so Cersei's evil. I think at one point he even says, like, he knows Cersei's evil, but Cersei loves him, and that's the place where she's not evil. And, like, people keep referring to that, and I think this season has all been about, like, Tommen kind of realizing that Cersei's evil and at first trying to stop her subtly, and then realizing he can't, and so he kind of tried to fuck her by denying trial by combat. And so he fucking she murders his wife, and in response he's like, you know what? Fuck you, and throws himself out a goddamn window. Like, Rachel and I were talking about that. That's not like, oh, this is a sweet, soft, innocent child, or he has no reason to live, or he's sad. There would have been more drama to that. He is a sensitive child. That was a, hey, you know what, Cersei? Fuck you. Like, that was the way he pointedly walked away, set down the crown, rejected the crown, and then just, whoop, out the window. Like, it had every telltale sign of fuck you, Cersei. Because I think he realized that that's the only way that he could really hurt Cersei.
What I was kind of thinking was, you never want to believe that as a kid that your parent's evil or does bad things. So I kind of saw it as that was his way to try to get Cersei to atone for her sins properly and get her on like a good path. No trial by combat. You have to come to the Sept of Baelor, and you have to atone. Yeah, and you have to atone. This is what your king's commanding you to do. There is no trial by combat. So from a little kid's point of view, because this kid's not very old. My kid's 14, and I think Tommen's not even as old as her. I don't even remember what his final age was supposed to be there. But she's gonna be devastated if he tries to get his mom to atone for sins, and then she clearly just did this to where she blew up the whole Sept of Baelor, and just proved to him how evil she really is and how evil the world can be, and took everything away that he loved in one fell swoop. So
yeah, and then Brett and I were talking about this in the car earlier, fucking, there was the crypt under that. There was, and she just fucking destroyed, decimated everything.
Desecrated the entire family's graves in the process too. Like, not only killed a bunch of people, not only destroyed a holy site, not only took a bunch of innocent lives along with the people that she did kill, but fucking desecrated the corpses of her entire family in the process.
Yeah, that is an evil bitch, man. Oh, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about Cersei now that's interesting, because she was always evil, really evil, really fucked up. But she was always kept in check by her family.
Yes,
that's not in question anymore. The family doesn't exist. This is Cersei unleashed. This is gonna be fucking dangerous, and this bitch is the queen now.
I love how what's his face, Kingslayer, Jamie. Came back and he was like, oh no, what the fuck? I can't leave for 2 days to go deal with this Frey business without coming back and fucking shit's on fire.
Speaking of Jamie, before that, when he was sitting at Frey's table and the what's his name was like, she wants your golden fingers up her twat. Did anybody recognize the person, that wasn't a chick making eyes at Jamie? That was fucking Arya in disguise.
Yeah, that was Arya in disguise.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized that today. I was like, oh shit, she's just fucking staring daggers at Jamie the whole time. He's like, oh, she wants to jump on my dick. No, motherfucker, she's gonna murder you.
Yeah, right when she cut Walter's throat, my wife was like, "Wait, so are we supposed to believe that's who was staring at Jamie?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's clearly who it was."
So was Jamie ever in Arya's list? Because she could have just killed two birds with
Yes.
one stone.
I think she was.
Yeah, he was.
I
Yeah,
think he was, yeah.
but I guess he
And
must have left. Or
But she
something,
killed
you know?
not just Walter, but Walder or whatever his name is, but his two sons too. So
She
I think
chopped him up and
I think
cooked
she
him,
took
son.
3 names off the list, and she's like, "I'll fucking see you later."
Yeah. But Brett, just so, we gotta make this clear. She didn't just kill the son. She killed them, chopped them up, and cooked them, and fed them to Walter Frey.
I know, and didn't
Literally.
even give him a chance to eat the shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
yeah,
have
you
waited.
wanna eat more.
I would have waited till he ate the last fucking drop. And be like, hey, yo, my man, you just ate your sons, bitch.
Oh, I don't know though. Like he's like, "Where are my sons? They're here." Dude, I love the comic. I say, "Where are my sons? They're right here." Dementia jokes aren't funny. Where are my sons?
Yeah.
They're right here. And points to the pie. And he's like, "It would have been funnier if you let me eat it first."
Yeah, exactly. But just touch his belly, like they're right here, man. That was great, man. But yeah, but that scene, with Jamie and Cersei, the thing I also got from it was like, bitch, did you just kill our son? Because he doesn't know what happened. It's like, how are you on the fucking Iron Throne? What the fuck's going on here? The only way she could be there was if the son was dead. Jamie, I don't think he knew that at the point. I think he just arrived at King's Landing, saw.
Yeah.
Wait a second. In hindsight, there was about a quarter of that meat pie that was gone.
Oh no, he ate a lot of it.
Yeah,
he
he
ate.
ate him out.
Okay, so he did eat a bunch of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He ate some stuff. I'm just saying it would have been more satisfying if he ate the last drop and like, yo, you know what you just ate? I'll give you 3.
Well, didn't she set that down and say, "Here's another piece"?
Yeah, I was watching that, and to be honest, I was kind of craving chicken pot pie, and I was like, my 3 favorite things.
Like your finger pot pie now. It's like, yo, you fucked up with that part. You left the finger in there, the nail and shit.
Like, I think maybe like she's like, "I'm gonna feed him this slice. He'll figure it out." Like, motherfucker just ate the whole goddamn thing.
Well, here's another one.
Maybe there's like a fucking finger sticking out of this one. So the fucking bite down, they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then like he gets there and he's like, "Where are my sons?" He's like, "God damn it! I just put a finger in this pie. It was gonna be beautiful. You're gonna bite down the finger, be like, what is this? You're gonna pull it out. You're gonna act horrified. Now just like, where are my sons? They're right here. Okay? They're right here. I'm done trying. I'm gonna stab you in the neck now. They're right here. Fuck you."
You know what I just thought about right now? What would have been even funnier, right? If she revealed that to him the next day after he took a shit. Where are my sons? They're right there.
Right there.
You just shitted them out. They're right there. Oh man, so yeah, Cersei is the queen of Westeros. Woo.
So yeah, I'm sorry, I took us off of Jamie. So Jamie comes back and everything's on fire.
Yeah,
That's the great moment. It's like, God damn it.
And we got our book moment too, because remember, in the Feast for Crows, Jamie
Yes.
hated Cersei. So,
Okay, is I was about to ask that. Like the look he has when he comes in and he sees her sitting on the throne. Like, I don't know what to read into that look. It looks like hatred.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because think about it. How else would she be on the Iron Throne? Tommen had to be dead.
Yeah,
And
but what does he?
when he saw that fucking exploded shit, he knew who caused that. And think about it like this: he knows, like, did this bitch just blow up our father? And like, come on, man, he's pissed off, to say the least. He knows, man.
and it's all fucked up because
Yes. Sorry.
Jamie does everything for her, and then she does everything for herself. So this whole relationship is just one-sided. So it's like, I think he's starting to realize that finally.
Yeah, I really like the scene with Cersei and the sister, or the sparrow, whatever. Like when she was trying to wine border.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wine boarding.
And she just goes off on this, like, free and open, just like, yeah, I fuck my brother because I like it, and I do this because I like it, so I totally get what you're doing because you like it. And now I'm going to do this with the mountain because I like it. Goodbye. Like, it was so perfect, and I don't know if the mountain is just going to slowly torture her, or if maybe she'll have like a the mountain maybe will have a pet out of the nun. I think that would be cool if the Franken Mountain had a Franken pet, a
Here's
Franken nun.
the mountain you got to remember. Remember what he's infamous for. Supposedly raping and killing Liara, right? So, I mean, not Liara, the Dornish woman, I forget her name.
Ilya.
Yeah, Ilya, yeah. So I'm guessing, like, yo, this fucking, she's going to get raped by a big-ass zombie. That's crazy.
Okay, am I the only one? Like, I thought I was like, maybe I'm being a weirdo here, but it looks like that giant zombie's about to rape the fuck out of her.
He's gonna rape the shit out of her. He's gonna rip the skin off that bitch. I'm telling you, man.
Rigor mortis, he's already hard, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shame.
Yeah, I kind of was wondering about that and the whole, like, because he's sort of a, I don't want to say a mindless zombie, but very single direct or like direct orders. Like, he just follows what Cersei says.
Yeah, you go here, you rape.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you're right. I don't think he has any, like, I guess, higher brain functions other than obey. You know.
Yeah.
See, I liked the beginning of that scene more, where she started off with the confess. Because, you know, like, you're first starting her watching, like, confess, and you're like, confess what? She's a freaking nun. She's just making you confess. And then you're like, oh, damn. Wow, yeah, okay, this is going cool. But the shame at the end, that was pretty awesome.
That was the best. I love
that. The whole scene was, like, really, really well done.
I knew from when she was doing her walk of shame and how humiliated and shit she was, and it was because how prideful Cersei is with everything she does. And I was like, man, this bitch is just going to rain down hellfire on you people. Like, I kept waiting for it. I was like, come on, she's not broken. She's pissed. And she's increasingly desperate. She's pushing Jaime away. She had trial by combat taken away. She's getting more and more desperate. You know what? Fuck it. I could totally see where she was going.
Yeah, totally.
I wasn't expecting the whole, you know, to take down the trial, but whatever. It's kind of perfect the way she choreographed everything.
Evil witch.
She did what the Mad King wanted to do.
Oh no, the Mad King had stashes all over the city. I thought she was going to burn the whole city down.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But she was actually a little bit more surgical about it, you know. But you're right, I thought that too. But I was like, is this bitch going to burn down the whole city? I could see her doing something like that.
Yeah, I could see her doing about me like, you're going to find me guilty and execute me, so all you motherfuckers going to die with me.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But she was a little bit more precise about it. But very, you know, it's a Mad King tactic. That's the reason why Jaime killed the Mad King. He's like, wait, you're going to burn down all King's Landing? No, I'm killing you. You know?
And that's how I first saw it. I thought Cersei was about to blow up all King's Landing,
that's what I thought.
And Jaime would stab her in the back. So that I thought that's how it was all going.
Yeah, but then again, you know, Cersei, she's crazy and evil, but she's also not like, you know, she's not mad. She's like, hey, if I blow up the whole King's Landing, I'm not going to be able to rule over anything. So let me just take care of this one spot, you know.
Does this put Jaime like firmly like from the people who've read the book? So Jaime does at this point just fucking hate Cersei, because I would imagine basically seeing her do the thing that he killed the Mad King for would pretty much.
I think that's going to come into play for sure, man.
Yeah.
In the books, he you know, even before this point, he already like, yo, there's something wrong with her, man. Like, I don't think I like her anymore.
Boner kill.
Well, if you remember, Cersei got arrested for the first time, and then she sent a letter to Jaime to comfort her or to help her, and then he just refused.
And he's like, nope, sorry, bitch, you're on your own. Crazy.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, now you have, you know, Queen Cersei and Queen Daenerys, they're going to go at it, you know? And that was the other big payoff. It's like, oh shit, Daenerys is finally coming to Westeros after all this time. This is the thing she's wanted, I guess, since the end of season 1, right? That's what her main goal has been. So now it's finally happening. Actually, it's been her brother's goal even before that. Like, we're going to go back to Westeros, we're going to take back what's rightfully ours.
Yeah, she kind of inherited that when she has, like, no real recollection of Westeros. I mean, she's kind of she's going after it because she feels like it's hers, but at the same time she has kind of no idea what she's going into. Like, Tyrion helped, Varys helped, but she's still pretty naive. She's got the fleet and the fucking dragons, and she's got this agreement with the Iron Islands, all well and good. So what? The sister is queen of the Iron Islands now, which is separate from the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Oh no, Daenerys is going to help her murder her way into being queen of the Iron Islands, which is separate from the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Shit, I forgot what I wanted to bring up. Yeah, Queen Daenerys. Oh, so the thing is, like, now, because okay, this is what I want to bring up. Daenerys, the way I interpret her, she's not a good ruler, but she's an excellent conqueror. She comes into your spot, she's gonna fucking take over. Like nothing,
I disagree. I think she's an excellent ruler. Like, she has the kind of cool, calm, collected orders handed down from on high. Like, even think about other like, think about Lord of the Rings and how their kings act. Like, she can sit on a throne, look regal, be handed a difficult decision, and immediately decide something and hand it down with this kind of conviction and authority. She is queen material more so than almost anybody. Like, Jon Snow would be great king material in the sense that, like, he's a good dude and he would try and help as many people as possible, but like royalty, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and I think Daenerys and Cersei are the only two that actually act royal, I guess.
All right, this is why I completely disagree, because we got to just look at the actions, right? She went into, Slaver's Bay. She took all those warriors with her, right? That city went to shit. It eventually went back to the Masters. Meereen was all fucked up. She didn't know what to do with it, because she doesn't seem to understand that you need to go along with the culture of whoever you're conquering. You can't just fucking burn shit, The city was going to crap. Tyrion was the one that pulled her out of that fire.
But that's not the job of a queen. That's the job of the Queen's Council.
But that's my point, though. She's not a very.
She's
good
got
ruler.
Tyrion now. She's got Tyrion as hand of the king.
But
You don't get better at diplomacy council than
But who's
that.
the one that's actually ruling? That's my point. But
that's how it always is. But that's the job of a king is not to deal with the day-to-day affairs. It's to be in charge of the people who handle the day-to-day affairs. The small council in Westeros is the ones that handles all the day-to-day affairs. Joffrey just fucking sat around throwing tantrums all the time. Like, Cersei is not going to be dealing with the minutia of taxes and cleaning up the streets.
I actually disagree with that, because inside with Tony, because she still has the public address, where people were coming up to her and being like, look, your dragons killed my fucking kid. Like, she's still, if she's a conqueror and for the people and free the slaves and yada, 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 she's kind of like America in the respect that she carpet bombs shit.
Yeah.
And just sort of leaves it all fucked, and then comes back and like, what happened? Like, she's still very green. She's lucky. She is damn lucky to have Tyrion, and I guess Varys.
If it wasn't for Tyrion, she would have lost Meereen.
Exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. Like, Tyrion got Meereen attacked by slavers. She's the one that got it back. Tyrion almost lost it.
Tyrion, listen, Meereen was already okay. Let's take Tyrion completely out of it, right? What was happening to Meereen before that? It was already on the verge of collapse. Yeah, the Harpies.
It was on the verge of collapse, but Daenerys was going to have to go in there and crush them. Like, she didn't come in hard enough. Like, she could have gone in and burned their fucking cities. And I'll be honest, like, I kind of feel the same way. When she came back, she's like, I'll go in, I'll sink their ships, I'll kill all of them, and I will leave their cities fucking dust so that the next town I roll into knows not to fuck with me. Like, that is how an empire is formed. That is how Alexander the Great worked. That's how, the Caesars of old world.
It didn't seem to work for Daenerys until Tyrion pulled her out of the fire.
No, Tyrion didn't pull her out of it. Tyrion came in, made a compromise, and got the city attacked.
Yeah, he betrayed him. Remember,
he bought peace for a couple of days or weeks.
No. He bought peace for a couple of days while they went back and said, "Hey, the person in charge of Meereen now is a weak son of a bitch who's trying to negotiate with us. Let's raise our army." Meanwhile, Daenerys only managed to pull out of the mess that Tyrion made by doing what? Taking control of a Dothraki army. And how did she do that? By burning everybody alive and saying, "I'm fucking in charge now."
But how did he get to that mess in the first place? Because she fucked up,
Yeah, like the whole slavers rebellion was inevitable. It was, whether Daenerys was going to be there or not, it was inevitable.
Exactly. So, like, the only time Daenerys has had success is when she's rolled in, burned everything down, and said, "This is what I'm doing." Like, that's how she got her initial army. That's how she got her fucking dragons. That's how she takes all of her vengeance. A soft approach has never worked for Daenerys. Never.
But at the end of the day, in Marine, she only burned down one ship and killed those two masters.
Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah, so I would say. Well, yeah, I would say at the end of the day, she's not doing a bad job.
I don't know. To me, she seems like a pretty ineffective ruler. And now I'm going to talk about Cersei because I think she's even worse. Here's something from the books. Here's something from the books that hasn't showed up, but I think they probably will touch on it. Here's the thing. Varys, right? He wants Westeros destabilized so Daenerys can come in and take it over. He wants Cersei on the crown because he knows she's going to be an ineffective ruler. We already saw her kind of rule before, and she fucked that up completely. So her being on the crown is actually a good thing for Varys' plans because he knows that she is ineffective. She's just ruled by emotion. Like, I know she could plan and stuff, but at the end of the day, she's not that good of a ruler. So I think I don't know. They may change things for the show, obviously, but it seems like it'll be easier to take over Westeros if if they didn't have a stronger leader besides Cersei. She's ruled by her emotions.
Let me ask you this: so, of the contenders still in the game, who should win the Game of Thrones at this point, in your opinion?
To be honest, I think the best person to lead who can never be king is fucking Tyrion. He's the only one that seems to have his head on straight. Jon Snow, he's not that good of a leader. Look what he got killed. Daenerys has been fucking up. Cersei's been fucking up. The Tyrion's like the only one that seems to know what the fuck he's doing.
Okay, but of the actual available choices,
they're all they're not. I don't think any of them are good.
Well, but you can't just say I don't choose any. Like, somebody has to be king.
Well, I'm just telling you, I don't think any of them are good. That's what I'm telling you right now.
In a Pokemon battle, even if you don't think any of your Pokemon are good, you still have to choose one.
I guess.
Thank you, Colby.
I guess I'll go with Jon Snow, even though he fucking got killed. Literally.
No, hey, Jon Stargaryen.
Yeah. I guess I'll go with him, even though I'm like, dude, you haven't shown me that you're a good ruler either, man. They're all horrible.
Yeah.
Jon's kind of a pussy.
Well, think about this. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
The Jon Snow is a pussy. That's the problem.
Hey, but Jon Snow, we just found out that he's a Targaryen. So I don't know if those dragons will ever do anything to him. And he's got Bran, who can pretty much do anything.
Nobody has Bran at this point. Nobody knows where he is. And remember, again, Bran is the only one in the world that knows his secret.
But we know that Bran is Team Jon Snow.
No, we know that, but I'm saying nobody knows that he's a legitimate, heir to the throne.
Yeah, but the dragons will.
The dragons are going to talk to people in Westeros. Hey, by the way, he's the real guy.
No. Bran could tell people, and he could prove it. And Jon Snow could prove it by, being immune to fire or.
But that's only if he is immune to fire.
Or having control of dragons. Yeah, no, it's true. It's not guaranteed. It's just a possibility.
Okay, here's who should rule Westeros: Lady Mormont.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Dude, yeah. Lady Mormont is awesome.
Was that Blackstar?
The grumpy 10-year-old, I love her.
She straight up and got up and called out all those old ass guys. And
dude, she's my hero.
You suck.
Dude, this little girl came on there, unzipped her pants, and just pulled out the biggest cock possible.
Flopped it on the table. I am so stoked. She's quickly like coming up to my number 2 favorite character on the show, next to Tyrion.
Yeah, she's awesome. The short people, right?
Of course. I like the wee ones. I like Tyrion and the wee Mormont girl, and I like Arya, of course.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of Mormont, like Lord Friendzone got replaced as Lord Friendzone in this episode.
Yeah, man. Ooh, man, Dario, man.
Yeah, a new Lord Friendzone.
Dario's like, is this how Jorah feels all the time?
Hey, you know what? At least Dario got the pussy. At least he had that taste. My man Mormont didn't get shit. He just sniffed her hair a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, it was very cold how she was just like, hey, guess what? I'm dumping you, but you're getting a promotion. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
That was a pretty interesting scene because Daenerys doesn't really listen to people. She just does whatever the fuck she wants. That was actually her listening to someone. Tyrion was like, "You need to dump him."
Dude, there's some shit going on. Like, she likes Tyrion.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I saw it too. Like, there was something, man.
I didn't see that, because I thought about it, like, nah, that's not gonna happen. That would be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
No, I'm not. I don't even mean in like a sexual way, but like there is like she feels very strongly for Tyrion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which is he earned that trust from her. No, I definitely see the affection and stuff. Like he was making her laugh. There's little moments, and I totally see what you're going.
Yeah, but it goes beyond respect. Like there's almost like a platonic kind of love.
Yeah, there's like a mutual admiration society. Like she gave him a little friendship bracelet or a BFF pin or something.
Oh yeah, she gave him a Hand of the King badge. Like even his own dad never gave him the King.
Hand of the Queen. Jeez, Brad, come on.
Sorry. No. But yeah, even his dad only ever named him a placeholder.
Yeah. See, there was 2 spots in this episode out of every single season that I could have seen a really well placed tear of joy, just one tear, and one of those spots was right there when he got the Hand of King, the King, because like that's not just his dad, like here I need you to do this while I'm gone. That's I see how valuable you are, and your knowledge has been so amazing for me and what I'm doing that I am personally naming you Hand of the King because that's your job.
Yeah.
So that was the one spot. The other spot. Where I really wanted to see the one tear of joy come out of some, but see, I didn't want to see it in both. Having the 2 in one would have been awful, but they didn't do it at either spot. But when Sam walks into the library and really sees it for the first time, I could have seen one tear of joy coming down then too.
I kind of wanted to see him a little misty because I myself got a little misty.
And
totally. I looked over at Brett and he was just like,
I have no idea what my face looked like, but it's. Baby Angels sang, and I smelled rich mahogany and aged parchment, and I was like, I need to be there.
That was some Library of Alexandria shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh God, like that's what heaven looks like.
Yeah, and then here's we talked about this briefly in a little chat here. Now, when I was looking at the thing, I'm like, hey, all that shit looks like the intro from the show. Like those weird little rivet things that spin around.
Totally. I was like, what the hell are those things then? That clearly is like a symbol or meaning of something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mat room in those in that place.
Oh, by the way, I need to quickly throw this. I really love the fact that, because remember, for the last, the 4 seasons, we've seen the fucking, House Bolton around Winterfell, right? We finally got the fucking wolf back, man.
Yeah.
I would love that. But yeah,
the wolf is back, and the Stark kids are going to be pulled back together.
Yes, yeah, because Arya's coming back, Bran's gonna come back. But yeah, let's talk about that library, because that library was so fucking sweet, dude.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was great. I was not expecting it to be, because I like the way they set up. It's like, hey, go to the library. It's like, oh, this little shitty library. It's like, oh no, hold on a second, man. Let's render the rest of the world for you now.
So somebody who's read the book, what is the deal with the chains across the bookshelves like that? Are the books actually chained into the shelves, or are they just like chains that run across the shelves that keep you from being able to pull books out? What's the deal with the chains everywhere?
That's a good question. I don't think they went into like super detail about the library. I don't think he enter the library in the book. I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he did. No.
I think the only time we've actually been in the Citadel is like in prologue.
My guess is the chains are like, hey, this book is about this. This book is about that. It's like an index,
Well, I was trying to tell if the chains were chained to the spines of the books or the other end of the bookshelf. Like, is it just like a chain cage that because I noticed there were keyholes on the bookends of the bookshelves, like on the outsides. So it looked like you went to one side and you unlocked a chain, and that unlocked an entire shelf of books. But I couldn't tell if they were like, it could also be that you unlock it and like each book has a chain on its spine that hooks to the bookshelf. I don't know why I'm so interested in that, but I want to know the mechanisms of how these books are chained in. Like, are you not allowed to take them with you, or are you not? Or do you have to have like a certain knowledge, or do you have to attain a certain level before they give you a key to unlock certain knowledge? Like, how the fuck does this work?
We we only saw the one row, but my initial thought was, I wonder if these are like the steel level books that you can read, and then you go to another one where, because you get your steel chain for your length, then you get your titanium chain or whatever, because they go through all the different elements.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, when
And
you
that's
have
like,
when
once
you
you
run
know
your
what
steel
you have
chain,
access
read
to.
the steel chain books.
Yeah.
And then behind the curtains, they got the porno in the back.
Okay, so did anybody? I know Brett obviously saw, but did you guys see the last Airbender, the cartoon, not the show?
Hell yeah, man.
Okay, so the only other thing that I've ever seen that was like amazing, like that library, was the library of Wang Shitung.
Yes.
Oh,
The big
yeah.
owl. That was so. I
That
could have spent a whole season in that library.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
For sure.
So awesome.
Now, as from someone who's actually worked in a library, I just thought it was the place that everybody dumped their books are to be resorted. So I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay. Well, here's the shitty little part that needs to be resorted, and then there's the whole big area inside that everybody has access to, apparently, except for women and children, because they might.
Oh, Rachel just sent me something cool. When he walks into the library, he's going through stacks of books with chains hanging from them. We know that the maesters categorize their areas of expertise by using different metals and colors for the few links in their chain. The chains hanging from the books in the stacks are the Citadel's attempt at a medieval Dewey Decimal System, rather than pulling.
Bitch, that's what I said like 10 minutes ago. When you paying attention?
No, you are. I'm just saying it's confirmed. Like other people are. Rather than finding something related to medicine, you just look for the appropriate chain hanging from the spine binding and go from there. Which would explain you actually have to unlock them as well. So not only are they categorized, but they're also locked into levels. So for those of you who didn't notice, people who have paid more attention than both of us have figured this shit out.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. I guess probably the way the index is. Remember, each chain represents the knowledge of something, right? So it's like, hey, look for the blue chain, look for the red chain, something like that.
Here's the most interesting question of all. What the hell is Sam gonna learn about White Walkers? Like that's like the most interesting part. It's like, what the hell? What is it gonna be? Because they already know about obsidian and fire for the whites.
Well, the children made the White Walkers.
Yeah.
Right.
But was it with dragon glass that they made them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the White Walkers are born out of dragons' powers, which would kind of lend credence to dragons bringing magic back?
But at the same time, you need dragon glass in order to destroy them, and you need dragon fire in order to destroy them.
Well, you need, yeah.
How did the other half White Walker guy, the Stark's uncle, just shatter the White Walkers?
Valyrian steel.
Yeah,
was it Valyrian steel? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he never shattered the White Walker, did he?
Oh yeah, he came in with that the fire on the chain and just fucking wrecked the White Walkers.
Yeah, and remember, Valyrian steel is forged from dragon fire too.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So to answer your question, like, what do they find out about the White Walkers? You find out that you just got to tell them that your mother's name is also Martha, and they'll all just.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh man, it's never gonna end. What else happened in this season? Because that was the whole Cersei thing was pretty nuts. Daenerys fucking coming. My favorite scene. Let's talk about that. The King of the North. The King of the North.
The bastard king, the White Wolf.
Man, my man, Brent and I were joking about this. Like, next season, you're going to spend a whole episode where Daenerys meets Jon, and it's just going to be them introducing themselves. They got these long-ass names, the firstborn, son of the Andals, all that nonsense.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's just the already king, and then Jon Snow is the bastard king, the White Wolf, the king of the North, and Daenerys is breaker of chains, mother of dragons.
We need to add more. We need to add more titles to Jon. It's like
he
who knows nothing.
He who knows nothing.
Well, maybe
Bearer
of
your
a little bit
breath.
now.
Son of the Andals and the First Men.
Yeah, I saw a breakdown of that scene to compare it to the scene from the first time, when Robb was made the King of the North, and it was almost shot for shot. It was pretty cool, But again, going back to Lady Mormont, I just love that. She was like, "Listen, man, I stayed loyal. What about you, motherfuckers? Where were you? Made them all look like bitches."
What was it somebody said? Hold on, let me find it. Tell your mama you won't be going home because this isn't preschool, you big fur-covered turd baby.
And Lord Mandalay, we finally got to see him on the show. That's the first time we saw him, right? A big fat motherfucker.
Yeah. What's his nickname?
Oh shit, I forgot his nickname.
Too fat to ride a horse or something like that.
Too fat to ride a horse.
But yeah, I love that scene, man. Jon Snow, and he was like, "Oh shit!" Now I want to talk about what Sansa was, thinking. Like, do you? Because some people were speculating that she's like, "This motherfucker just usurped me. I'm
Nah,
the."
I didn't see it like that. I saw she was happy to start with when they were like giving him all the title and shit, and then she just looked at Littlefinger and I think she's thinking about like trying to plan like what the hell is this guy gonna do now? Because obviously Littlefinger doesn't want Jon to be king in the North.
Yeah, Littlefinger just wants himself and whatever incarnation of Cat is available to lead the Iron Throne. And she was actually happy for Jon. And I kind of saw, support and love and all the warm fuzzies, and then she saw Littlefinger and was like, "Oh shit!
Like, I owe this
guy just finished telling me."
Ugh, he's gonna ask for anal.
Oh, man, my man was coming in deep too. He was like, she was like, "No, hold on."
Yeah.
Hold up, son.
Dude, that spoke to me like she didn't seem to reject him, but that spoke to me. We'll talk when you have all these things.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, shout out to Erica who's in the chat room. She asked, "What happened to Wolf?"
Ghost?
Yeah, Ghost. What happened to him? It's like he wasn't in the battle, and he wasn't here in this episode either.
Yeah, what happened to Ghost and what happened to Sir Pounce?
I heard Sir Pounce. So I heard that they spent, because that episode 9 when it was during the battle, they wasted a lot of CG money on the dragons and on 1-1. So pretty much it was just budget concerns that made Ghost not be there.
Yeah, because they couldn't have.
Yeah, but just having him sleep at the front of the table, because like they had the long table that was facing all. Just have him like sitting down at the feet, or front of that would have been perfect.
They could have done that.
Yeah, they could have done that. Just have him chilling,
Yeah, like he didn't need to be like up and like.
You know what would have been awesome? Imagine if he was sleeping next to Lady Mormont, she's petting him and stuff.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But yeah, I really like that scene. So now Jon, he's the king of the North. They're like, I don't give a fuck. He's a bastard. He's a Stark, So, but he also seemed like, oh fuck, what did I get myself into, man? I just wanted to stay dead.
The dude, like, if you think about it, he never wanted to be king in the North, and he never wanted to be Lord Commander. Like, these things just come up to him. So, like, he doesn't want to be the king of Westeros. Might that be the next step?
Yeah,
he just wanted to be a Stark.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, exactly. But here's you know what? Before I go to what I was gonna say, Brett, I'm glad you bring that up because remember he was like, oh yeah, my parents used to sit at this table and they used to sit over there during feasts. Because he was just a bastard. But going back to what we were talking about before, because even though I feel that Jon Snow isn't that effective of a leader, I do think he would be a good leader because he doesn't want to be a leader. If you don't really want it, you're probably going to be better at it than somebody who's like really greedy for it. This is one of the reasons. Yeah, this is one of the reasons. My favorite president is George Washington. He didn't want to be president. He just saw the country going to shit. And when they wanted to make him king, he's like, "Fuck you guys! I'm going back to my farm. I did my time." He didn't want that shit. But that is, so I think Jon Snow, I guess in that sense, since he doesn't, he's gonna be the king because he knows it's his duty to, And now he may be thinking, shit. Even though I am a bastard, I'm still a Stark. I have to uphold the family name. So he may be feeling that responsibility as well, And maybe, who knows, maybe, he's learned from all his mistakes from dying, Maybe he will be a more effective leader.
I still don't see him having a pair on him.
He needs to grow a pair. He's going to have to grow a pair, especially when those White Walkers show up.
I mean, I don't know that you can grow a pair. No, he'll fight against the White Walkers. The problem is that, and this comes from somebody who would probably be in that situation himself in real life. Like, the problem is he's got too much morality. Like, he spends too long wrestling with hard decisions. The second he's dealing with White Walkers or monsters, the gloves come off and he knows what the fuck to do. But he spends too much time trying to
he does
make everybody happy and see the good in people.
Yeah,
and
he's good in battle, and he has a good head on his shoulders. But I don't see him participating in the whole politics of ruling. I see more. Yeah, right. I see more. Daenerys is hungrier for it, and she also is kind of better equipped to handle the White Walkers because of
dragons.
Because of her dragons. And Jon fucking, how many wildlings are left? I mean, you got the bearded guy.
Okay, let's talk. If we're talking about the efficiency of Jon versus Daenerys, yeah, Jon is an excellent one-on-one fighter. Yes, he can inspire loyalty in a small group of people, but he sucks at large-scale commanding. And if you look at Daenerys has pulled all of this shit out of basically being a backwoods barbarian's fuck toy. She's efficient at what she does. You can say what you want about her morality or anything, but she is fucking good at revengeance and murder and just slaying people. She is a good conqueror. She is Alexander the Great with super nice tits.
Yeah,
so we don't.
Actually, now that you're talking about that, Daenerys and Jon together would be a pretty unstoppable force. If you really think about it.
That's pretty much what I was thinking. I was kind of letting you guys get your points out, but I was about to say, Targaryens historically married each other and ruled, as Targaryens. Yeah. So who's to say that
That's
Jon
gross, though.
No, I'm not saying. You're right. No, you're right. That is gross. But my point is not that they're going to get together; that they're actually just going to team up and rule together.
Think about it like this: that you have Daenerys as the queen, right? You have Tyrion as the hand, right? Then you have Jon Snow as the leader of the armies.
But the problem is, Jon Snow outranks her in terms of
that's right.
In line for the throne.
No, he doesn't.
Jon doesn't
Yes, he does.
No,
Think about it. How doesn't he outrank her? He's the son of Rhaegar.
He's a bastard.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Yes,
he's a full son.
No, he's not. He's the son of nobility.
Yeah, he's the son of Rhaegar and Stark.
No, but but Rhaegar was married to Elia when he had Jon, so he's technically a bastard.
But he's a bastard of royalty, not royalty, of nobility, though.
Also, Targaryens practice multiple marriages.
That is true.
No, but he was never married to Lyanna.
He wasn't. Well, we don't know that. They could have had a ceremony. They could have had a ceremony.
Yeah, especially if the whole story or if the whole theory about that she wasn't kidnapped, that she ran away with him, then they absolutely would have been married.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they were married, he's not a bastard at all. He's legitimate. He's more legitimate than Daenerys is.
But if he was, so think about it like this: if he was married to Lyanna, who knows? Who knows that they got married? Everyone's dead.
But that's right. But no one knows he's the rightful, except for Bran. No one knows he's the rightful heir either.
Right. So, but how is his claim higher than Daenerys?
Well, because technically, if you could prove everything in a perfect world, the fact that he is Rhaegar's son puts him in line before Daenerys. Technically, I'm not talking about what you can prove. I'm just saying, technically speaking. It goes Rhaegar, all of Rhaegar's bloodline, and then after Rhaegar's bloodline is gone, Daenerys then takes over as next in line for the throne.
Yeah, but I see what you guys are saying, that they're married. I think you guys are coming up with this faux rule about if two princes or two lords have a child out of wedlock, that it's still legitimized. I don't think that's a thing.
They went through and killed all of Robert's bastards.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, they very clearly have a history of going through and killing bastards because bastards can come up and claim for whatever they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, before women can.
Remember the black
bastards hold a greater claim to any throne than a woman does. That was expressed.
It's true. And that's happened expressly. It hasn't been shown in the show yet, but in the books that has happened. Remember the Blackfire Rebellion? Same thing. A bastard was like, "Hey, I lay claim to the throne."
No, yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying that technically his line of succession is not higher than Daenerys.
But it is, though, because he's still the son of Rhaegar.
But he's not a Targaryen.
He is a Targaryen. He's the son of Rhaegar.
The bastard
not by name.
Okay, the bastard son of a Targaryen still takes precedence over a true-born female Targaryen.
Yeah,
the same way the bastard son of a Baratheon still takes precedent over a true-born female Baratheon.
Exactly. That's just the rules of Westeros.
No, because then why did? So I guess isn't Cersei the queen? She's a Baratheon by name.
By name, exactly. But there's no one else. They killed everyone else.
Yeah,
But if they found a male that was Baratheon,
Yeah.
they would oversee Cersei, understand?
Yeah, so it had to go through the
I don't
whole
know.
Baratheon line, including all of her sons, and once every last Baratheon was dead, then it resorted to by marriage and female lines. So that's why it had to go through all of Cersei's sons before it went to Cersei, and didn't go straight from Robert to Cersei to all of Cersei's children.
Yeah, but the children were quote unquote legitimized. They were Baratheon kids by name and by blood.
Yeah, but since they're all dead, then the only one left is Cersei. Understand?
To the last Baratheon, even by name.
Yeah, so like if you were the king, right, and you had 2 kids, and you had a brother, and your brother also had 2 kids, the order of rule, well, your brother had, okay, you're king, you have 2 sons, you have a brother who has a son and a daughter, right? It would go you, and then your 2 sons, and then your brother's son, and then your brother's daughter.
Well, then your brother.
Well, no, it would
brother,
go.
your brother,
It would go to your brother before his children. So it
exactly.
goes down a family line. So it goes down the entirety of the male family line, and then when it reaches a final conclusion, it jumps back to the closest male relative, and then if there are no closest male relatives, it jumps back to the closest female relative.
Yeah, I should add, let's say that daughter is older than the son. That doesn't matter. The
That's
son
what I was about
gets
to say, too.
precedence. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
I
yeah.
don't know. I need to read up on that, Steve.
But I don't know what's so hard to
But if you
understand.
do, let us know if you actually get to the conclusion on something like that. You know what I mean? Like, definitely update us.
But
Okay.
you know, but right now we're just gonna go with Jon has a stronger claim to the throne than Daenerys does because he's the son of Rhaegar.
Well, okay, too. Hey, let's go back to the book readers. Here's something that Brett was talking about where he doesn't even know about. There's actually another Targaryen boy that is in Essos trying to find Daenerys.
Oh, really?
Oh, hold
Young
on.
Griff?
Wait, say that again.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but
Young Griff?
he's another. Yeah,
Young
Griff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a full Targaryen looking to find Daenerys, and
Whose
he has the
kid is
stronger
he?
claim because he's the boy.
Is he?
Who's
kid is he?
He's the son of Rhaegar and
Elia.
And Elia.
Yeah.
And
So it's
Elia
Rhaegar's
Dorne.
kid still.
It's still, but he's
Another one.
Yeah, he's another Rhaegar, but he's not in the show at all. Oh, by the way, Vanavash brought up an interesting point. He says in the episode they actually named her Cersei Lannister, not Cersei Baratheon.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and she's the first queen of Westeros.
Well, and her kid had lions all over him. He never had stag stuff, except for the crown was the crowns from Robert, basically, with all the stag antlers.
Yeah,
But I mean,
Yeah, the
everything else
crowns
in
are
his was all his other stuff was all lions.
But yeah, I know. But going back, even though young Griff doesn't show up on the show, yeah, he has a real legitimate claim because he's the son of the actual
Prince.
The actual prince.
Yeah,
but
which
again,
is.
But since he doesn't exist, it would fall to Jon because he's the male.
Well, I mean, it's kind of fucked up. Like it's counterintuitive that Jon does have the stronger claim because technically he would be Daenerys's nephew.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but
like
he's male, so
Like,
well, it's not even that he's male. It's that he's part of Rhaegar's.
Rhaegar.
I don't know why I can't get that right. It's that he's part of Rhaegar's bloodline, and Rhaegar's bloodline takes priority over her bloodline.
Well, that's because he was going to be the king. He's
Well,
Rhaegar.
Yeah, well, he was going to be the king, and he's the firstborn male. So like the firstborn male's bloodline, like everything all the way to the very end until that's extinguished. Which historically, even in like real life, like the brother of somebody who gets named king, like generally just never fucking does anything, and like they retire somewhere and they end up founding a minor house of nobility. Like that's actually how noble houses get formed, is like the siblings of people of great power just kind of fade off into the distance and they form their own house. If you go back far enough in my family tree, that's how my family came to be. So like it definitely has a precedence in real world. It seems counterintuitive, but this is actually how titles and land are handed down historically in our world.
Yeah,
See, Brett would know. He's got a lot of that history because, I've actually seen a lot of that stuff that he has in his house. So usually with that kind of stuff, I usually lean towards what Brett's saying because I've actually seen him prove, like, when he talks about that kind of stuff. So And I mean, not only that, but Brett's nobility line, but he also like someone in his family wrecked the Titanic.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, you
Oh
crashed.
shit.
Okay, not to sidetrack too much, but would the Karstarks have any like claim to the?
Yes.
Like if all the Starks were wiped out, it
Yes.
would go to the Karstarks, right? Yeah, that's
it
what
would go to the Karstarks, because the Karstarks are essentially the sister family of the Starks. So after all the Starks die, the Karstarks take over.
Yeah, very interesting how it all works. I
Well,
find it fascinating. At
like-
least
Yeah, like because Karstarks are just Starks.
they're
Starks.
They're
Starks.
an offshoot. Yeah, they're an offshoot of Starks, but they are Starks. Karstark. It says it right there in the name, you know.
Yeah, they just changed their name to have a different house.
Yeah. Okay. Because I want to start wrapping this up. Okay. Season 7 speculation. What do we think is going to happen next season?
Well, it's a short season, right?
Yes. Actually, just to clarify, next season it's only one season, but they split it in two. It's supposed to be
They did a Breaking Bad thing.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, what do we think is going to happen? What do we want to happen? Let's get into that.
I want to see. Okay, I want to see. Like, it's time for Magic to fucking rear its head and let us know what the fuck is going on. Like, there's clearly some elemental forces at work that are happening with the cycle or winter or something like that, and they've teased around it a lot with Bran, and Bran now has the ability to finally like figure out what the fuck is going on, and he can be the narrative vehicle so that the audience can finally figure out what the fuck is going on, because somebody has to.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they're going to start feeding us some of these more supernatural answers as Bran finds them out, because there's literally the problem in the world, in this entire fictional world, is nobody knows what's going on, except for there's one person who might be able to find out what's going on, and that's Bran. So that it just, I don't know if it's too convenient or if it just smacks like this would tie up a whole lot of loose ends, but I think we're going to start seeing through Bran a lot of this mystical shit start to resolve itself.
Because he's the three-eyed raven now, so he's the perfect vehicle for that. You're 100% right about that, dude.
It's also the right time in the story. Like, you've kept us, like, RR has done an amazing job, and this is one of the things I think that he's done the best of, infusing a world with magic while still getting the audience to not necessarily believe in magic.
Yeah.
Like, by now, a lesser author, you would have like started to expect magical things to happen. But for some reason, like, even though like people come back to life, they turn into zombies, they fucking birth shadow babies that murder people, they tear their face off. Yet every time something mystical happens, we're all so surprised and almost so reluctant to believe it. Like, that is a talent in and of itself. But at the same time, that needs a payoff. At a certain point, you need to say, like, okay, here's how everything works, so that the audience can see that this was, in fact, a true system with ins and outs and rules, and not just some arbitrary deus ex machina bullshit that you're pulling out of your left butt cheek. So, like, I think it's time to give that reveal. Otherwise, like, you're going to start to frustrate people. Like, I'll be honest, I'll be super pissed if we get to the end of this, and they're like, I don't know, the Night King is magic. And you're like, the fuck? I thought there was logic behind this. Like, I thought there was going to be like a whole intertwined backstory of how this all fits together. I'm fucking expecting that at this point. So you need to start revealing the mysticism of the world and why all of these things are happening and what makes them actually tie together. Like, how does the return of winter deal with the return of the dragons and the return of magic in the world? Like, all of this is tied together. And even if it's in the first half of the last season, you tell me about the past and how the past used to have magic, and then you really drive it home with, fucking things happening, in the second half, I'm okay with that. But start to introduce some kind of back lore to all of this mysticism.
I don't think it's ever gonna get.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep it real. I expect some answers, but I don't think we're going to get all answers. Because remember, magic is supposed to, by nature, it's supposed to be unknowing. It's not a science where you could break it down by numbers. It's supposed to be just kind of
but you could still. But there's always still the catalyst event. You're like, Sauron has awakened, and this is why these things are doing this. Or like before man, the children lived in harmony with the dragons, and then this elemental force that balanced itself. But with man, this force became skewed and turned into a cycle. And there's something, just something. Give me something other than I don't know. Winter's coming.
No. You can't just have that. But I mean, don't expect a full scientific breakdown of.
Oh no! I'm not. But I think everything is so tied together that one thing would explain a lot of things. Like, just tell me why winter comes at indeterminate amounts of time and has varying severity and lasts for indeterminate amounts of time. Like, that doesn't make sense. If you explain that, that probably has something to do with the way magic is tied to the world, and the way magic is tied to the world probably has something to way the reason that dragons are tied to the world. So I don't need you to explain it. Like, you don't need to go full on like Naruto, here's the science behind the magic kind of thing. But like, I'd like to hear a little bit of like, these at least are how these things work together. Like, I want, when the series is done, I don't want to have to be like, why the fuck did the warlocks get their magic back when the dragons came back? They never explained that to me. Like, that is the kind of thing that'll piss me off. And I maybe I'm giving Railroad too much credit, but I feel like he's not going to leave all that shit hanging. Because even as a writer, like, there has to be some set of rules in his head that he uses to make sure there's some sort of continuity in his world.
Well, Brett, Railroad might not do it, but the show might. Because, I mean, the show doesn't have... I don't think the show has enough time to get through all of that stuff.
Because let's be honest, right? Okay, we got 14 episodes potentially. Not only do we have to have the war between Daenerys and Cersei, we also have to have the war with the White Walkers and all those other things. So it's going to be a lot to pack in.
We already maybe this is just because I play too much Dark Souls. We already have the tracks laid. We already have. There was a continent that was filled with dragons and children, and it was a place of magic and mystery. And then one day, men came from the Andals with their swords and their knives and their axes, and they began to hack down the trees and murder the land and kill off the children. So what did the children do? They waged an offense. They turned nature itself against the men of the Andals. And when this didn't work and they were driven back in a last act of desperation, they used a dagger made of the magic of dragonfire driven into the heart of a man to turn these beasts against themselves by imbuing them with the power of winter and death. And in doing so, they unknowingly created the greatest scourge the world has ever seen and essentially unleashed a Lich King upon the world. And at that point, they created this giant, because the first men didn't fucking create that giant ice barrier wall, and they sure as shit didn't infuse it with magic that held the White Walkers back. So they accidentally made this plague scourge and then sealed it far in the north, and were beaten back there by the men. And now they live there hiding amongst the monsters of their own creation, trying to find a way to either right the wrongs or wait to see this whole thing blow up in their face and end the entire world as we know it. Like, there is already an awesome and rich backstory back there. I just don't know how the fuck dragons fit into it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some kind of answer, Either way, I'm seeing some dumb shit on Twitter right now. I'll leave that for the end of the show. But yeah, the things I want to see, obviously I want to see that big-ass fucking battle. Okay, I'm going to skip to it. This is the thing I'm worried about, because they've been leading up to this giant war between, Daenerys and Westeros, right? I just hope that when the White Walkers come, it doesn't cut that war short. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like, we're going to get this payoff, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait, nope, none of that matters now because this shit's coming.
That's exactly what's going to happen, though.
I know that's what's going to happen. It's kind of frustrating because, the thing, let's just be honest. You could remove the whole White Walker thing out of the show, and it would still be just as compelling. You've seen what happens with Daenerys and all that, just the dynasty shit going on, So I just hope they don't cut it too short.
Look at it this way. What will probably happen is that Cersei will drive the kingdom to the verge of collapse while Jon Snow is trying to rally people against the White Walkers, and then Daenerys will come in with the dragons and basically save the day, and then Cersei will be left fucking holding the bag, and her, because Cersei can die, but the worst thing that Cersei can think of is to basically be impeached as queen. So they're not just going to fucking kill her, they're going to see everybody turn against her, and she's going to live to see Daenerys named queen, which is her worst fucking nightmare, and then she'll either be killed terribly or take her own life in some pitiful fashion, because everyone will be like, we're gonna follow the woman who brought the dragons and saved us from the White Walkers. At least that's what I'm afraid of, but hopefully it'll be nicer than that.
Well, I mean, that's part of the prophecy, though. Remember, they said a younger, more beautiful queen is going to usurp you. She thought it was Marjorie. It's Daenerys. But again, it just seems to me like it'll shortchange. It's like Daenerys has been building up to this giant moment. Then when she gets to Westeros, she has to deal with the White Walkers instead.
What is this prophecy that Daenerys had about standing in the standing over the ruins of King's
Oh,
Landing
yeah.
as snow fell. Like, this is something in the books that I'm not aware of, but I've heard referenced a couple times.
Oh, we saw it in the show too.
We saw it in the
Did
show
we?
too. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
when-
It was on one of those like it wasn't a flashback. It was like visions. Remember, Khal Drogo showed up in that episode too. You
With
know,
the baby.
Like, yeah, with the baby.
Yeah.
It was in Karth and the what was that thing called?
The
was like-
Warlock Tower.
Yeah, it was like a tower. God
Yeah,
damn.
yeah.
They
But yeah,
call themselves Warlocks.
Well, no, yeah. I mean, all this stuff has already been prophesied. We already know what's coming. We know Daenerys is gonna fight the White Walkers. I just still feel that it's like fuck. I kind of wanted to see just everything with her play out with Cersei, you know. But we're not gonna get that. But
That would mean that everybody weakens themselves, and Cersei doesn't have the truly awful ending of being hated and reviled by everybody.
well, Cersei is gonna get hers, and it's gonna be glorious. I guarantee you that. you
Okay.
know?
Well, that's
so
what I'm saying.
how's
I
the
don't
mount- who kills
Go
the
ahead.
mountain?
Actually, what happened, Colby?
Who kills the mountain?
Tyrion.
A dragon.
Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Actually, here's one way I could see that I'll be satisfied with, because you have 2 seasons now. Maybe one season will be, you know, the battle between Cersei and, you know, Westeros and Daenerys, and then the final season will be everybody versus the White Walkers. Maybe that'll work better, you know.
Do you think though that we're gonna see everybody like expend their energy and their armies fighting each other and then fight the White Walkers?
Well, that's what makes it crazy. I mean, the show didn't do a very good job of this, but the book did. Basically, it shows you that everything in Westeros is really fucked up. All those wars they've had, it's caused mass famine, diseases, all this shit. Basically, Westeros is in a very bad state to be fighting these White Walkers. The show hasn't really shown that too much, you know? So yeah, they're already kind of fucked before these guys even show up, because of all those dynastic wars they've been having for years now. You know, like they haven't been able to grow crops. Remember, winter is already here. They didn't have time to grow crops, you know? So everyone's going to be starving to death. It's going to be fucking brutal, you know?
Oh yeah.
So, Colby, to answer your question, I think the Sand Snakes we're gonna kill Gregor Clegane.
That would be crazy.
That'd
That'd be awesome.
But to point out what Tony said, how long do you think it'll take to defeat Cersei? Because Daenerys has the support of so many factions and so many powerful factions, and Cersei has who? The Lannisters? And that's it?
Not even them.
No, she has a lot of, like, you know, houses in Westeros. The things, I want to know how many of those houses are going to turn on her, especially when they see the size of fucking the Daenerys' army. It's like, yeah, we're going to go.
Dude,
you know,
Robert Baratheon already told them, like, if you remember in the very beginning when Robert Baratheon was talking about, like, assassinating Daenerys, he was talking to Cersei, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, if they decide to attack, we can't stop them.
Yeah,
And they
that's
will come
true.
and they will murder everybody who can't hide behind a stone wall. And Cersei's like, well, we've got technology and cities. We can wait them out. And Robert says, and how long do you think people will stand behind their coward king? The absentee king, the king that doesn't stand and fights for him, that lets their people get murdered in the street. How long will they stand for that king? Because it won't be long, and that king will fall. Like, I guarantee you that was foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. And that's the other thing. It's like, okay, I want to see a huge battle, but at the same time, it seems, I'm just being objective now, it seems pretty lopsided. I think Daenerys has a greater advantage than Cersei does, even though she has King's Landing. I really, you know, just like you said, Brett, as soon as this army comes and winter's coming, they're going to be like, okay, what side is more beneficial to me? The Dragon Queen, I'm going to go for her side, you know?
I don't know how realistic they're portraying it, but the Dothraki, while they have numbers and they are terrifying, they will also be killed in scores in Westeros because
They don't wear
land is-
armor. They don't wear armor.
They
dude.
don't wear armor.
Yeah.
They don't understand how to fight infantrymen or pikemen. They don't know how to work in wooded or uneven ground. They're used to just riding across giant fields
yeah.
of grass and just outnumbering people with sheer force and brutality. Like, that shit doesn't fly against, like, a phalanx formation.
Hey, Brett, I got a question because you're a history guy, right?
Yeah.
Why did Napoleon and Hitler fail to take over Russia?
Because they didn't account for the cold.
Exactly. The Dothraki don't wear they're like, you know, what they live in like the summer basically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna just drop dead, dude. So you're right about that. She may have the bigger army, but the army is weak. It's like having a bunch of like enemies that just have +1 health. You know, it's like
It's like being on the wrong side of the rock paper scissors game, man. Like, you do have, like, you have mounted cavalry, but if that's all you have, also coming from an Irishman whose people never learned tactics and as a result were conquered repeatedly throughout history, getting in a line and yelling while you run forward and swing a sharp object trying to hit your enemy with the pointy end of it doesn't really work well for large-scale conquest.
Yeah, so it seems to me she's gonna maybe have to rely on Tyrion's diplomacy to actually get actual allies on her side, because those Dothraki, even though it was at 100,000 of them, they're gonna be a liability. She only has like 20,000 of the, well, I forget the names. What's the name of the
Unsullied.
Those guys are the real deal.
The Unsullied, the Unsullied will fuck you up. But even the Dothraki, like how well can you manage? Like, that's like kind of like, saying I have 100,000 pirates at my back. Like, great, you're gonna build a society with those 100,000 pirates?
Yeah, a bunch of drunken assholes. They're not gonna do anything. You have great numbers, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
All right, everybody, let's stop raping and pillaging for a second. We should probably set up currency in a central bank. Hey, why are all of you looking at me like that?
And Daenerys still has the Reach, which is probably the biggest army out of all of them, and they haven't really suffered that many casualties.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Manny, who's in the chat room right now. But yeah, you're right. They haven't really suffered that many casualties, but it's going to be interesting because the Dothraki, I didn't think about them. You're right. They're kind of expendable. They're not suited for Westerosi war. The fucking Unsullied sure as hell are. So she's going to have to ally with a whole bunch of houses. And remember, Cersei is not exactly well liked, so she may not have a problem with that. It's like, ooh, let's go with the Dragon Queen instead.
Well,
fuck Cersei.
Daenerys could train the Dothraki. Like, I could see, like, Daenerys having the Unsullied train the Dothraki, and all the Dothraki be like, why do we need to wear these plates and handle these shields?
Because
and
it'll keep you
Daenerys,
alive.
like, snaps her fingers, and an Unsullied whoops the shit out of him and be like, that's why.
Yes.
Like, I could see her going through, like, a full training campaign of, like, beating them into shape. Rocky montage, Eye of the Tiger, the whole 9 yards.
I can just imagine this now, Brett. Why do we need to, to train? Why do we need to wear all this shit? I'll teach you why. Gets one Unsullied, gathers 10 Dothraki, and he kicks all their asses. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
You've got 3 weeks. Get to work.
Get to work, motherfuckers. We're on this boat. You got nothing better to do. Train. And wear the fucking armor, please.
But you also have to give credit to how fierce the Dothraki fighters really are. I mean, like, watching them fight, they can definitely take some people down. So,
well, no, I mean, it's still a horde. They're gonna take some people down, and it could also just be a intimidating thing. You see this large army coming at you, even if they're just like naked, and you've been like, oh shit.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then, I don't know how they're gonna pull it off. I guess Bran needs to show up and be like, hey, John, I got a secret for you, brother. You're not my brother.
He thinks
he's gonna bust out a Maury Povich.
He doesn't need to show up to John. He just needs to show up to John's dream, like the Three-Eyed Raven was doing to him before.
Yeah, that's right. John, man, we're
family. Okay, so what do you guys think?
We're not brothers.
What do you guys think about this? Like them doing like not necessarily a full episode with Bran, like a narrating, but like I think they have to do something to where like Bran narrates. To where like he kind of talks about the history, like Brett was getting into, of like the magic and stuff, because like they do have to touch on a lot of things that they're gonna have to start tying stuff together. So I think like maybe if they made like some kind of monologue, even like a 5 to 10 minute thing where he's just like narrating over like scenes and battles and stuff of history through the land, and like and not even necessarily like he's talking to somebody. But like it's almost like we're hearing his thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like I really feel like they need to do. Yeah.
If you read a book, we had a voiceover.
Yeah, they could even say that he's writing down his thoughts in a diary or whatever, and like as he's writing it down, like we're hearing what he's writing, his thoughts,
Yeah, I don't know. I could even see it as like just an episode mostly devoted like kind of like the dreamwalking thing, where you just see like Bran reach out and like touch an artifact or something like that, and then the whole background kind of dilates and goes blurry, and then snaps back, and he's in a different place, and you just watch him jump like almost abruptly from scene to scene, and like these kind of memories that kind of like start jumping in faster and faster, one on top of another, getting more and more frantic before boom, you land in this quiet, pivotal moment where it's the creation of the White Walkers, the conflict between the first men and the children, and you have the big reveal, and then boom, it snaps back, and there's Bran just sitting in a quiet room with like torchlight flickering behind him, and just the silence just weighs down on you. Like, as much as I hate to show my hand here, make it like a bad trip flashback kind of thing, where it's just like boom vision, boom vision, boom vision, boom vision, boom vision, boom vision, boom, big reveal, snap back, dead silence.
Yeah, while he's sitting on top of a tree. Oh, by the way, I'm going to bring this up before I forget, because this is a really good point. Erica in the comments said that she really wants to see the look on Cersei's face when she sees Tyrion coming in with Daenerys, and it's like, hey, I'm the hand of the queen now. I earned this shit.
She's just gonna snarl and snap at him.
Yeah, you're gonna hear her teeth grinding.
I don't even think that would be satisfying, because I don't think like I don't think Daenerys has the character, or excuse me, I don't think Cersei has the character to really feel like, oh my God, I've gotten the better, or he's gotten the better of me. I think she'd immediately see him and just jump into like, you sniveling little twat, like blah 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 blah. Like, I don't know. As I'd like to think that there would be a pearl clutching moment, but I don't think Cersei respects him enough that even if she saw him in a position of power and prestige, that she wouldn't think that he cheated or lied his way there or something.
Oh yeah, no, she's gonna think something horrible. Obviously, I think she's just gonna be more mad that he's still alive. Because how much she hates him.
There definitely needs to be something between the two. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it be she sees him from a distance or something like. I mean, I hope there's a more of a dialogue between the two, but I mean, there definitely needs to be like, she knows he's there with her,
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those moments where she sees him off in the distance. He turns around, everything stops, and you see a pair of sunglasses just come down.
I want to see Tyrion ride a dragon. Ever since he like revealed his little moment about how he always wanted a dragon.
There's a theory, man. That Tyrion might be a Targaryen.
I heard about that.
Oh yeah.
Interesting, but then again, it would also make Cersei Targaryen too, wouldn't it?
No, well, so the theory is that the Mad King impregnated what's her face?
Freaking
Tywin's wife, and that's why Tywin always despised him.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
Yeah.
Let alone him killing her during childbirth. But yeah, something I want to see actually. Like, when do you guys? I think this is inevitable. Maybe it's just me. The wall has to go down.
Yes, the wall has to come down. We definitely got to see that. I don't know. Yeah. I think we're gonna see that maybe at the end of the next season.
Didn't
not episode 9. Remember, episode 8 or 6 in that case, right? Because remember, he's gonna be episode 7. That's gonna be the season finale.
Oh, that's right. That's
right. Didn't Uncle White Walker mention something that alluded to the idea that the wall's going to come down? Like, I'll see you guys when the wall comes down, or some shit like that.
Well, did they even mention the horn in this fucking show?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a horn. There's a horn that's supposed to be able to take the wall down.
Right. I was gonna say, I could be mixing my fantasy, but isn't there like a Horn of Valyr or something like that?
That is totally Wheel of Time, my friend. But I think that there is something similar in here.
Well,
yeah, but I knew there was some kind of horn, or I just didn't. Maybe not the Horn of Valyr, because I mean that's Wheel of Time. But I mean, I knew there was some kind of horn that they went to go find.
There's 2 horns. So there's one horn that Euron has.
Yes.
The Dragonbinder. And there's the other one that Mance Rayder had.
Yeah, that one.
For the wall, but I'm not too sure if the show did it.
No, I don't think so. Dragonbinder, that's actually how he became king of the Iron Islands. He's like, hey, I got this shit.
Yeah.
What is Dragonbinder?
It's exactly what it does. It controls dragons. And he wasn't he taking that to Daenerys or something?
Yeah, I think Victarion had it with him or something.
He's not in the show. One of the other butchers. He was bringing that to Daenerys, the Dragonbinder horn, but none of that's in the show, so I guess it's moot at this point, But yeah, I mean, anything else? I think we pretty much covered it.
One last thing that I want to make sure that we give credit to was Davos, because nobody mentioned him at all, but, over the last couple seasons, like, he's a character that, like, the actor that they chose to play him is spot on, and he's just a great character. I mean, all around.
J'accuse, witch!
Yeah, that was great,
Oh.
man.
So,
Yeah.
where's Melisandre going?
Oh yeah, I have a theory.
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna meet up with Thoros Amir. That's what
Oh,
I think.
Why the
But
shit
Thor-
aren't they sending her north?
No, south. They're sending her
No,
south.
why the shit aren't they sending her north?
You need to be useful. I don't know. It's a good
Well,
question.
she'll die.
So?
Yeah, they're just exiling her. But yeah, I think she's gonna meet up with Thoros Amir, and they're gonna have little fire babies.
Or I was thinking even like Beric Dondarrion and the Hound, like she meets up with him.
Yeah, because remember they're all together. Thoros Amir, Beric, and Darien, they're all together. So she's gonna meet up with them.
they
heading north.
Don't they hate
Yeah.
Melisandre though? Don't they view her each other as like different sects of the like they serve the same god, but in different ways? Like that's like a Protestant and a Catholic, right?
No, I think it's just one of the same. They just
Yeah.
interpreted it different. Well, yeah.
Well, no,
I guess
because they
that's-
made it very clear that they hold Lady Melisandre in a high amount of disdain. Like they do not like her and view her as like a false prophet of their god. I was pretty sure about that.
I think I heard that too, Brett. It's a good question. Oh, by the way, somebody brought this up in a comment too. This is relating to the book too. Do you think that Arya may be filling in the lady
Stoneheart.
Yeah, like she'll become the leader of the band of the what is it, the Brotherhood Without Banners? She'll become that. She'll be that avenging angel and stuff.
Oh, that'll be so awesome.
I wanted to see Lady Stoneheart. Like that was something I had been spoiled on. And I was like, man, I kind of want to see this shit happen.
Dude.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah, man, this show is gonna get so good, man, and I still predict the show will end before the next book comes out. I guarantee you that.
Oh god. Oh god.
Okay.
I
Right,
can't.
yeah.
I can't do that, man. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, but hey, listen, I'm just being morose. I don't care. We're probably never gonna see these books. I'm just being honest. I don't think Martin's ever gonna finish them.
You know, see, the thing about that is, though, that happened to Robert Jordan as well. Like anybody who honestly puts on these gigantic serialized novels, they run the risk of. And Robert Jordan died before he could finish his last book, but he had extensive notes. He told the end of the story to all of his children, and his children went out and did a really
why
good
did
job
he
of
have
finding a
them?
ghostwriter.
But here's the thing, Brett. I'm so glad you bring that up because George Martin actually referenced Robert Jordan in that. He goes like, Robert Jordan had extensive notes. People were able to fill it in. He goes, you know where all my notes are? Right here in my head. That's what he said.
Yeah, but the only reason Robert Jordan had those notes and those people have the ability to fill that in is he was battling a disease for years and he knew he was going to die. Robert or R.R. could,
He's
next week
insistent. He's like, I got many years ahead of me. You know.
Well, I don't think he has many years ahead of him.
No,
Like
that's what he.
No. I don't think he thinks that either. Like I think if he got like hit by a bus, like yeah, we would totally just lose the end of the story. But I think most of the time you get at least a little bit of notice when you're like a terminally ill, end of life kind of thing, and that would at least be long enough for him to sit around and like talk into a tape recorder, and be like, okay, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this is so and so's baby. I want to end the book this way, even if it's just like incoherent ramblings. Like ghost writers exist for a reason. I don't think that there's any universe in which Game of Thrones, the story is not finished.
No, I mean they know what the ending is. I'm talking about the little details and stuff. Because remember, George Martin, he doesn't. Here's the thing. Perfect example. He described two kinds of authors out there. There's the architect and there's the gardener. Robert Jordan is the architect. He had it all laid out. George Martin has admitted he's a gardener. He knows he wants to grow tomato. He just doesn't know how the tomato's going to grow. And
This series was going to end a long time ago.
Exactly, but he said that too. But he was like, hey, like I started writing something and I found it was interesting, so I went along a different path just to experiment and stuff. So he even doesn't know exactly where things are going to go. He knows.
Well, I know that. But Tony, if you were George R.R. Martin and somebody came to you tomorrow and went like, you've got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and you've got 2 years to live, would you not be like, okay, let me look back and see what would be the opus of my works? What would be the total thing that I've done with my life? Oh, I should probably finish that.
No, Brett, I completely agree with you, but he's not in a terminal state, understand?
No, that's what I say. Unless he gets hit by a bus, I don't think we're going to, like most of the time people get a little bit of notice before they die.
Yeah, I should note please, people, no violence against George R.R. Martin. Please, no violence against him, because might even be like, yo, if I break his kneecaps, maybe he'll finish the book. No, don't misery shit here, please. You're not, oh God. Anyway,
What have you done?
Yeah, but anyway, I still believe we are not going to see these books before the show's over, man. No,
not before the show's over. I think that the show's going to end and the books are going to end differently. I mean, I think that, I think a lot of stuff that we've already seen isn't even going to be in the books.
I still think some stuff is going to be canon. I believe Daenerys, was it Daenerys with the Dothraki? That's canon. I'm gonna say
that's literally where they left off in the book. That was the last place that you saw Daenerys, was them surrounding her.
Yeah.
Tony, let me ask you, why does it have to be canon?
Because again, she was with the Dothraki. She needs to come back to Meereen with an army.
No. I mean, what if the show ends one way, and then George R.R. Martin says, you know what? For the book readers, I'm going to give them the special treat of the books ending a different way than the show did. There's nothing that's actually wrong with that.
No. Well, actually, you know what? Let's talk about that, because I kind of feel there is something.
You could even have it. The show has, Jon Snow end up as the king, and the books have Daenerys end up. Like, they could end up wildly different, and in theory, that's still okay, isn't it? Like, I know it might piss some people off, but it worked for Full Metal.
It did, but okay, here's the thing. I feel that if you're a book reader since day one and you had the ending of the book changed because of a TV show, it's kind of fucked up.
No. If you were a reader from the book from the beginning of day one, and the show, because it had to finish before the books were over, made its own ending, a la the first Full Metal Alchemist.
But
in hindsight,
but here's the thing, though. Remember, the show is based on what George R.R. Martin told him. The ending we're gonna get is the ending George R.R. Martin told him. He says he may change things because of the show. Understand?
Well, you just said yourself, he's a gardener, and here's the thing: like, if you look at it from forward, if you look at it with front sight, it would make you mad. But look at it this way. The people who watch the show get a really good show, and then when the books come out 2 years later, you're like, oh, well, I already know how this book is going to end. They're like, oh, no, George went back and rewrote a whole bunch of stuff so that the book is still worth reading. It also picks up all the stuff that got cut out of the books, when it went to the series. So still has Lady Stoneheart in it, and she plays a big part in the last two books. Bloody, 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 blah. Like, they could make a pretty far departure from the show, and if the show was already pretty much said and done for 2 years at that point, who's going to complain that they get a different story from George R.R. Martin than the one that they already got? Like, I can see why, in theory, it would piss people off, but in practice, it could work really well.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying, and just to be clear, I don't really care one way or the other, right? I'm just saying this is what I'm hearing on the internet. People are like, yo, if they change that fucking book for this dumb show, I'm going to be pissed. People are saying that, but at the same time, actually, I've heard this is the funniest one. They said they're not considering the show canon because those are the original notes from George R.R. Martin. They're like, if the book changes anything, then the show's canon to them, especially, R plus L equals J. They said if they change that in the show, they're considering the show canon. It's pretty crazy. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy it either way, but I'm just raising those concerns from people, But I can see both sides. I can see it's like, hey, listen, the show's, the book's doing its own thing anyway, so whatever. And then the other side is like, oh man, you fucked up the ending because of this dumb show, But I still see. Here's how I would actually go with it. They're already different by nature, right? There's a bunch of shit happening. We talked about it, young Griff, all this other shit that isn't happening in the show. It's gonna be different regardless, So if you change it, maybe it wouldn't be that bad as long as it's in line with his original plans. If you know what I mean.
By original plans, do we mean Daenerys destroying King's Landing and becoming queen? Because we've already had that prophesized for us.
Yeah, that's
so. As long as both the show and the books end that way, they could fucking wildly vary, and people really can't say they ended any differently.
No, but that's what I mean. What if he decides, hey, I had this plan for 10 years now that Daenerys is gonna destroy King's Landing, but it happened in the show. Let me change it now. Don't you think?
I don't think it would change that. I think it would be in the show Daenerys wins, and blah 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 blah. But in the books, Daenerys wins and Tyrion dies and Arya ends up killing Jaime Lannister and Lady Stoneheart ends up murdering a whole bunch of different fools. So you'd be like, oh yeah, I've already seen the series. And so we're like, well yeah, blah blah blah. When Arya died, I'd be like, whoa, Arya didn't die in the series. We're like, oh yeah, but she died in the books. Maybe like, oh okay, there's going to be enough different that even having seen the books or even having seen the show, that they're going to want to come back and read the books. So
yeah, I agree with you, but again, going back to that point, it's like that again. People don't like the fact that he's specifically changing things that were supposed to be canon just because the show already showed it.
You're assuming that these but that's what I'm saying. Like if you gave me a list of these 4 things that are supposed to be canon, I said okay, and I made those into a TV show, and then and then you wrote the book, and those 4 things were still canon, but everything else was different.
But what if those 4 things are no longer canon because the show did it first? Understand? Just changing it for the Mass Effect ending. No, but Brett, it's the Mass Effect ending. Mass Effect had a specific ending from the beginning. They changed it. And it didn't.
No, I know, but you're proposing an impossible scenario. You're proposing a point of view from a fan that if anything gets changed, you could say as a fan that they strayed away from the books.
I'm telling you that hold on. But this is what people are legitimately saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
My point is that people are legitimately going to say that anyway. That it is a trap. There is nothing unless the books and the show are 100% exactly the same. There will be some asshole on the internet that said they changed the books because of the show, and that asshole on the internet will be wrong because they will have, in fact, George will have given the people in the TV show these 5 things that are definitely going to happen, and then the things that they change are the stuff that he hasn't really decided on, but then when somebody fucking reads the book and sees the things that are different, they're going to assume that they were changed because of the show. So because Railroad is going to have to deal with this asshole anyway, and this asshole's still going to get on the internet and say that they changed blah-de-blah because of the TV show anyway, why even worry about what this guy's going to say, and why not just change shit as you feel like it? Because there's no getting out of this trap. There's no way that you can prove to an angry nerd fan on the internet that the things that were changed were not the things that George had said was going to happen. You see what I'm saying?
You can't prove something like that.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that one. But again, you're still going to have that regardless, even though the fact remains that no matter what happens, the fucking book is going to be wildly different than the damn show anyway. So there's kind of no point of complaining.
Well, my point is, and I know Brett's probably the only one on the show today that can relate with this, and I'm not comparing myself to a professional writer in any sort, but when I write a campaign for D&D, I've got notes written out for what I want to happen, where I want the story to go, and sometimes halfway through the story, I've completely changed where everybody's going to go because it's developing into something that's more fun or better, so just because, 5-10 years ago or whatever, he sits down and writes out all these notes, doesn't mean 2 years later he doesn't go back and change them. 2 years after that, he goes back and changes them again because he's like, you know what, now this is in my head making more sense. So because he gave these dudes these notes, a while ago, doesn't mean that isn't where he was original, or doesn't mean that's exactly where it was going to end up had there been no show.
Dude, you know what I mean? It doesn't even mean that he doesn't accidentally stumble across a forum post where somebody makes a wild conjecture and he reads that and says, that's not a half-bad fucking idea. Like, right. As a DM, too, I have had my people be like, okay, we're going to go in searching after this old pirate ghost. And my guys, go into this old cave and they find a fire crystal and use it to blow down a wall. And I'm like, there's a fire crystal in a wall. Okay, you find a magma chamber. And they're like, well, let's explore down the magma chamber. And you're like, I don't know, maybe there's a fire demon down there. Wow, a fire demon would make a really good twist to the story. That would explain why there's all these hot springs in the town up above. And that could explain why, as they venture further and further, finding more and more treasure, I can increase the temperature of the hot springs, and the town can be in more and more peril as they're boiled alive. Meanwhile, these adventurers are going further and further into a dungeon, unknowingly causing this catastrophe in which they're trying to stop. That could be a really cool story. And suddenly, I've abandoned everything about a pirate ghost, and I'm staying up until 2 in the morning writing this sweet Inferno Demon story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably more in line with the way Martin writes. Mm-hmm. He said it. He's like, hey, I've written things, and I'm like, oh, wait, let me go back and change that because this is better, So you're right about that. But I still believe some things will be canon, like the whole John's lineage, Danny coming to Westeros. It's just how we get there is going to be different,
Yeah, he's been setting some stuff up from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even with a Gardner type writer, they do play the long game in certain points.
Yeah, totally. Man, again, my only complaint with the series is I gotta wait a whole other year for the next season. Fuck, it's too good. It's too good.
Are you more excited though about the ending of the books or the ending of the show?
I just want to see the ending. Period. I don't care which one gives it to me first.
But what if they're both two different endings?
I mean, that's fine. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with that. As long as
I want to see the ending to the show. If I'm gonna read anything, I'm gonna go back and read fucking Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I would say the show because I know that one's gonna come up first.
Yeah, we know for a fact that's coming first. We know that.
Yeah, but that anticipation though for the book that I know is so far away, it's like I'm almost more excited for the one that's further out. You know, like, you know, my birthday's right before Christmas, but I'm usually more excited for Christmas than for birthday just because it's like that anticipation. You know what I mean?
But my thing is I'm kind of just protecting myself. I'm like, I may never see these books, so I better not hold out too much anticipation if we'll ever see them. I can get myself hyped up for the show because unless I die, I'm going to see them. You know? Or unless it's a nuclear war or something.
And you know, everybody is different when it comes to reading, but for me, it's like I have much more of an emotional bond with a book. You know, because it's like one of the reasons why I play D&D and I'm a DM in D&D is because I have a really good imagination. You know, so like reading a book is like for me almost better than watching something in live action.
Yeah. No, that's totally understandable, you know. But again, I'm just looking at it from a practical standpoint. That book ain't coming out anytime soon. So what's the next best thing? The actual show. You know.
I feel you there too, for sure. I definitely get that anticipation as well.
Yeah, my thing is I don't care about the medium. I care about the story. That's what I want. You know, I would prefer to read the book ending first, but since that's not going to happen, we got.
Well, I think though I'm more excited about the book ending just because I want to know what actually becomes George's final ending, not Ian's or whatever.
No, I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to happen. I know I'm being pessimistic about it, but I'm just protecting myself.
No, I get that. No, I totally do.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it for this extra long episode. But we haven't done this for a year, so why the fuck not?
Yeah, that was fun.
It was awesome. Thank you for joining us, Colby. Last minute stuff. Actually, thank you for everybody doing this shit last minute. Great.
Yeah, that was.
No problem.
I'm really glad that we get it together, guys. It's good talking to Brett, Carlos, Tony, and Rach before she dropped out, but that was a lot of fun, guys.
This stuff needed said. This discussion was going to happen on Twitter regardless, so.
So why not make it into a show, right?
Right.
Right, I don't have my show notes, so just look at the fucking links below for the pimping shit. Hey, I can only get away with that because Manny's not here. Whenever Manny's here, he's like, Tony, you gotta do it. You gotta do the pimping stuff. He's not here, so fuck it.
When Manny's away, the Tony will play.
Manny's in the chat room yelling at me right now, though, probably. But yeah, follow us on Twitter, Facebook. All the links are down there and stuff. So once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and joined by Colby Schumacher.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Carlos Romero.
Later, everyone.
And Brett Murdoch.
Burn them all.
Burn them all to the ground.